The Lancaster Barnstormers are victors 9 times in a row here at home, but can they withstand yet another injury? The bug hit again last night. Kelly Dugan came out of the game in the 9th inning, and now he is on the shelf for anywhere from 2 weeks, probably more like 4. And the Barnstormers down to just 9 position players for the ball game tonight. They will start to have reinforcements here for tomorrow. Good evening, everyone. Along with Eric May, Dave Collins with you from Clipper Magazine Stadium. And so many things are on the upswing for this Barnstormers club, but you have to wonder how many blows can this team withstand.
Well, and first of all, it started with the pitching staff, trying to get everybody healthy. That seems to falling into place. Then you lose Clark. Now you lose Dugan.
Shaver has his contract purchased. And you lose your 3, 5, and 6 hitters.
And so this has been such a test of adversity for this ball club. But every time it looks like they get knocked down, they bounce back off the mat.
They're 6-1 in the second half. They're in first place in the North. But for a while anyway, it looks like it's going to be the pitching staff that's going to have to carry the load. The Barnstormers do have the arms in order to do that, and you hope to be able to piece together enough offense with what is left to give these guys the support that they need. We'll be back with the Barnstormers and the High Point Rockers in a moment here on Blue Ridge 11. Top 7 the same as last night for the High Point Rockers, and it is a very good and run-productive top 7 in the batting order. The only real change is at the catching spot. Last night we saw Dakota Mulcahy. Tonight Mike Galino with the start behind the dish for the High Point Rockers. And to take a look at the Barnstormers defense, I said this last night, I'll say it again, what you see is what you get. The only possible move the Barnstormers have would be if they lose the DH, or if someone else, heaven forbid, goes down. Trayvon Robinson can move into the outfield somewhere. But that, for the moment, is it for the Barnstormers. We do have catcher first baseman Tyler Hill, who is here, but again, it was not signed in time to be activated for the ball game tonight. He got in around 6 o'clock. You have to activate players in the Atlantic League 90 minutes before the time of the game, and in order to be activated, they have to have a signed contract. Oscar De La Cruz gets the start tonight for the Barnstormers. There have been times Oscar has been excellent. He has thrown 4 quality starts for this club. He can give up some home runs from time to time, and those are largely responsible for that 5.08 ERA. Obviously, the Barnstormers on the Atlantic League's double hook rule need to get 5 innings out of him. They would really like to get 6 innings out of De La Cruz tonight. He has given the Barnstormers 6 4 different times.
Well, and the pitching staff really has been phenomenal here in the second half of the season.
It's been great on this homestand. A little bit of a hiccup for Eric Manoah last night. It seemed like he was in steady trouble, but he got out of that trouble more often than not. Gave up only 3 earned runs in his 5 innings, so he was able to avoid disaster last night. Now we have De La Cruz working to the right-handed batting Tyler Ladendorf leading off, and Oscar will serve a ball. It is inside and low, 1-0, says the plate umpire Derek Moshe. We had some fireworks last night in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Frank Viola ended up getting ejected. And it was one of those moments where you suspected that he paid the mound visit to talk to Junior Rincon just to force the altercation with the plate umpire P.J. McConville. That ball is smashed foul on the left side.
Sounded like a move that Butch Hobson used to pull, too.
Oh, we've seen Butch do that. I've seen others do it. As soon as you stand there and you're talking about dinner, you're talking about the pretty lady in the 3rd row, whatever you're talking about. Here is a 1-2 pitch. Ladendorf fouls it the other way. Still a ball and 2 strikes. And as soon as the umpire, he's compelled to do, goes out, and you get a look at Frank in the dugout, back out there for tonight in between his skipper Jamie Keefe and shortstop Giovanni Alfonso. Chopped at the plate, and Ladendorf stubbornly sticking around against De La Cruz. And as soon as that umpire goes out to break up the mound conference, that coach will just turn and start after him.
The fuse has been lit.
1-2, and the breaking ball popped up near home plate. Peroni coming back. He's not going to have enough room. That's well back into the seats. And we will continue at a ball and 2 strikes. And once the tongue lashing started and the ejection was signaled, it got more heated from there, ending up with the traditional covering up of home plate with the dirt from the batter's box.
Wow. Probably a wise decision not to have Frank take the lineup card out tonight.
1-2 is high, ball 2 and 2 strikes. Well, Jamie Keefe got into it as well.
Oh.
And there was a time Pete and I thought Jamie either had been thumbed or was going to get thumbed, but he was allowed to stick around. 2-2. And another foul ball from Ladendorf. We'll get to pitch number 9 of the current at bat. 6'6" Oscar De La Cruz from the Dominican Republic. 250-pounder. Translation, large fellow.
Yes. And keep this long at bat in mind, because that's a lot of pitches already just to one batter.
We see Sean Dunston do this a lot on the Barnstormer side. That is ball 3 outside. De La Cruz thought he had it. And this is what we saw a lot of last night. Now, from our camera angle, it can be a little tricky.
Yeah.
It looked like Moshe was correct, but De La Cruz certainly didn't think so. We saw Eric Manoah have that reaction quite often last night. Melvin Mercedes had a 3rd strike called on him, and he was absolutely livid. And now ball 4 is inside, a leadoff walk to Ladendorf. And that will bring on left fielder Ben Aklinski, hitting .291 with 11 homers and 41 runs driven in.
That's a tremendous at-bat for Ladendorf to start off the ball game. Works a deep count, makes De La Cruz throw a lot of pitches here in the 1st inning.
Ooh, he just kept that bat in check, too.
Yeah, very much so. That's borderline.
Close on a couple of counts. Runner on, and Aklinski steps in. De La Cruz looking for a quick out or two. Here is the first offering. That is a ball just low. Now, the Barnstormers can't afford to have anybody thrown out. If it's going to be, it's got to be someone from the coaching staff. Because, again, the roster is very thin. So the guys that are on the field know that they have to keep their tongues and their body language in check. Ball 2 is inside on a Klinsky, 2-0. Last night, a Klinsky walked twice, was hit by a pitch, had a double. He scored 3 of the 6 High Point runs. 2 balls and nothing. De La Cruz in some early trouble. He gets a strike in there. And now 2-1. And are the cheers for De La Cruz or Derek Moshe from the partisan crowd here in Lancaster, or very possibly a mix? But the sarcasm was noted.
I think it's always going to be directed at the umpires.
2 balls, 1 strike. And to De La Cruz, that is knocked foul off to the right, and here we go again.
You know, and looking back at last night's game, I think it's important to note that, you know, with High Point scoring 2 in the first, Lancaster answered with 2 of their own, fell behind in the 3rd inning, and then scratched and clawed their way, and a nice rally come from behind win last night.
This team has done everything well in this 9-game home winning streak. They've hit in the clutch. They've gotten the great pitching, starting and relieving, called strike 3. De La Cruz gets the first out, and now facing a man who hit 38 home runs in the big leagues 5 years ago. Who would think you're sitting here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania at Clipper Magazine Stadium, and on the same homestand, your team has to face Chris Davis and Logan Morrison.
Yeah, how about that?
A former American League home run champion and a guy who wasn't too far off. 1 out, 1 on, and somewhat of a shift is on against Morrison, who takes a strike. He hit 38 for Tampa Bay back in 2017. Pete was saying last night he and Morrison played together at one point.
You know, I tuned in and I heard that.
Inside a ball, 1-1.
He taught Pete how to play a
Cribbage.
Is that the Harry Potter?
That's Quidditch.
Oh, what's cribbage?
Cribbage is a card game with a scoring system that you count off with pegs on a wooden board. I played it a lot, but it's been a long time. Ball 2 is low, 2-1. I think the last time I played it, I probably played it with my brother, who picked up on the cribbage somewhere along the way, separately from me picking it up. 2 balls and a strike. You know, when you grow up in the Great Lakes, there's not a lot to do in winter. You become card players and bowlers.
An ice fisherman?
Not where I was.
Oh, okay.
2-1. Morrison sends that one deep, but foul off a broken bat. And now it is 2 balls and 2 strikes.
All right, is this going to set a tone now for broken bats again?
I believe that our game times have been severely lengthened on this homestand by the need to cut down additional trees.
What'd you go, like 3.5 last night?
3:30. Well, we had the injury to Dugan, but he came off the field fairly quickly. And, of course, the altercation with Viola and Jamie Keefe, and ultimately half of the Rockers with the umpiring crew last night. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ladendorf, the runner at first, he's just 1 for 1 stealing. Not your traditional leadoff hitter speed. The Rockers are not a huge base stealing club. The Barnstormers have turned into one. And I think losing Dugan and Shaver and Clark, they're going to have to be even more so. Although you lose a lot of stolen bases in Clark and some in Dugan. There's a hopper toward the middle. Mercedes will lay the tag on, throw to first, and that gets away from Cordero. Morrison safe on the fielder's choice, and a great piece of base running by Ladendorf to force Mercedes to take an extra second or two in order to apply the tag. I think Mercedes thought the tag was going to be automatic, but Ladendorf ducked out of his way, and that forced an awkward throw for Melvin Mercedes. If he had made the flip to Hoover, they might have been better off, but he didn't see that right away. Mercedes loves the tag and throw. It can happen very, very quickly. Ladendorf made sure it didn't.
The ball looked like it made a funny hop and a right turn, because you saw Mercedes have to stick his glove out at the last second. It looked like it was going to spin toward the foul line, and he had to reach out. And, if he would have been able to field out to his right, yeah, he could have done a little shovel pass over to second base, maybe turn the double play. But, hey, you get the lead runner. That's the objective.
Here's the very dangerous Xander Wheel. Fouls it off, and De La Cruz is ahead at 0-2. Wheel hit a 2-run homer in the 9th inning last night off of West Tunnel. Gave up just his second home run, and that was a blast. That cleared in left center field. And Tunnel still needed to get 2 outs. The next batter lined to the shortstop, and then a routine ground out into the game. 2 outs, runner is still at first base, 0-2, and Wheel shoots at the third, knocked down Lair. He'll pick it up, fire to second, and that is in time. Barnstormers have not been as sure-handed the last couple of nights as we normally see them, but they get out of the inning. There is just one man left on base following the leadoff walk, and the Barnstormers will step in scoreless into the bottom of the first. And you get a look at the reassembled Lancaster Barnstormers batting order. A little bit more pressure on Cordero, and even more so, I think, on Trayvon Robinson and Anderson Felice than they had. Those veteran players going to need to produce. Robinson has been. He drove in 4 runs in the ball game last night, and he has 10 runs batted in the last 4 games. You also need some kind of production out of the bottom of the order.
Well, you mentioned Steady Andretti. He's been batting well. Trayvon with a nice game last night. The top of the, and you mentioned this, the signing of Sean Dunston has been a huge advantage to this offense and defense, really, for that matter.
Yes, it's an amazing midseason acquisition. I had a chance to sit with Ross today. We recorded an interview. I'm going to play the audio on Saturday from that interview as a pregame show on our YouTube broadcast, and we're also going to post the video of it on YouTube at about the same time. And was one of the things we talked about was the midseason acquisition of Dunston. There is the defense tonight. Again, the only change is the catcher Galino tonight, whereas last night it was Mulcahy. And the Barnstormers to face a left-hander tonight, something we haven't seen too much of lately. And that left-hander goes by the name of Jonah Scalero. He's out of Florida State and taking the opportunity to get his professional career going in the Atlantic League. And he's had mixed success, 2-2 with the 5.89 earned run average. The Barnstormers have the left-handed hitting Dunston, followed by the switch-hitting Mercedes, the right-handed batting Cordero, the switch-hitting Robinson. And we'll see how they can do against Scalero. He's thrown 18 in the 3rd innings over his 4 starts, 20 hits allowed, and 10 walks. First pitch is ball 1 inside on Dunston. He reached base all 5 plate appearances last night, 3 out of 3 with a couple of walks.
You can't ask anything else out of your leadoff guy.
He hits the ball to all fields, too, so it's tough to defend him. Into the dirt and ball 2. It's 2-0 on Dunston.
Now, if Ross can only find another golden nugget like Dunston to help ease some of the pain with Clark and Dugan now out.
And I think if you can find an outfielder at this point, it's more important to get a bat than a glove and speed. Because you've got Dunston at the top of the order. Here's a 2-0. He will look at that up high, and it's ball 3. And knowing Dunston, he'll be taking this pitch the whole way. Trying to get on. Michael Martinez, the third baseman, still plays up. 3-0, fastball is there. Scalero gets it across, and Dunston was not about to swing. 3-1 to the leadoff batter for the Barnstormers. De La Cruz gave up a leadoff walk in the top of the inning, survived that. Here's a 3-1 pitch, and Dunston will take a second strike. It's 3-2, and this is not foreign territory for Sean Dunston Jr. 3 balls, 2 strikes leading off a game. And it gives everybody else a look at Jonas Scalero, because unless you've been in the ACC the last few years, you haven't seen him before. Inside, ball 4. Dunston is on for the 6th straight time in this current series, and it's 7 straight times overall. He singled his last trip against Wild Health back on Sunday. Melvin Mercedes will check in, batting .280 and currently on a 10-game hitting streak.
Now the question is, how long will he be on first base?
He has stolen 19. He may want to see one move from Scalero, and Scalero may know that and not show him a move early. Dunston out to a good-sized lead. Scalero looks toward first. He'll come to the plate, and Dunston not secure yet in going, but he saw the move. And as soon as he detects something that's different from the move to first base and the move to the plate, he'll be on the run. If there is no difference, then the pitcher has control. Throw goes to first, and it's bounced in to Logan Morrison. Dunston is back. Sean stole 2 more last night. He's got 19 stolen bases in 30 games. That's basically Darian Sanford pace.
And only caught twice.
To the plate, and a strike on the outside corner to Melvin.
You know, and it's a guy like Dunston that can get into the head of a young pitcher like Scalero. Knowing that Dunston wants to run, he's got to make a quick delivery to the plate.
Upstairs, and now 6 of 9 have been out of the zone from young Jonas Scalero. Scalero is a native Floridian. He'll turn 24 in about 3 weeks. 2-1 pitch. Mercedes lofts a fly ball out of play down the right side. 2-2, and neither half inning has gotten off to what you would consider a fast and active start. Leadoff walk. Next guy with a deep long count.
Did I catch a highlight of Mercedes making a play in the hole last night?
There was one up the middle.
Yeah.
Up the middle against Morrison, I believe it was. Yeah.
Oh.
What a gem.
Jeez.
And now Melvin tries to go the other way, lashes it foul into the seats. He'll continue at 2 balls and 2 strikes. We talked about this last week, about how Dunston and Mercedes both work the count so well that you get through those two. Was it the first 2 at-bats for the 2 of them? Took 26 pitches the other day.
Wow.
Between, their first inning at-bats and, say, the third or whenever it was. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Mel. Here's the set, the pitch, high and wide. And we've gone to a second consecutive full count. With Cordero on deck, and Andretti's only had 7 hits in the last 2 games. Only.
Yeah.
3-2 to Mercedes. We'll see if Dunston goes, and Scalero wants to determine the same thing. One thing that I've always been told, and I believe it to be true, that if you play for a baseball program like a Florida State, one of those major D1 baseball schools, that you can come in and compete in AA at the same level you performed collegiately. Swing after the 3-2 with Dunston on the run. That's fouled away.
Wow.
And so it might be worth, with the Barnstormers short on players right now, the draft comes up starting Sunday through next Tuesday. I would be inclined to be looking at what players have used up their eligibility and did not get drafted? And I would try and find the best couple of hitters that I could get my hands on right now. We've got roster room.
Have you shared that?
Swing and a miss. The runner takes off, and the throw to the wrong side of the base. So Mercedes is gone on strikes, but Dunston steals his 20th. And the Barnstormers move a man into scoring position, and now they are sending Dunston back. Are they sending him back to first base?
They might have called interference on Mercedes.
Yeah, then he's out too, and that's exactly what they did. So it's a double play.
Yeah, because if you see the replay, you'll see Mercedes come across the plate.
So they'll take the 2 outs. Yeah, the bat was a little bit in the way.
So how do you mark that in the scorebook?
It's, I believe, still maybe a 2 unassisted double play, but it's a double play, and Dunston, I believe, technically is thrown out stealing.
Oh.
What a way to lose the start of an inning.
Man.
1 strike to Cordero, up to 320 on the year. Scalero has had him look bad on the first 2 pitches. 0-2. Two outs, nobody on base. That's a nasty turnaround. It's a strike him out, can't throw him out double play. Into the dirt for a ball, not close enough to tempt Andretti. Ball 1, 2 strikes.
Just when you think, Dunston in a nice at bat to draw the walk, Mercedes works a full count before striking out. You think, okay, now you got a guy in scoring position. That gets wiped out. Now there's 2 outs in the inning, and now in the hole at 1 and 2. What a quick turn of events.
Scalero to the plate, and he tries to tempt Andretti to chase after another one in the dirt. And Andretti says no. We like to think for Andretti those days are in the past. He's pretty well locked in right now. 2-2. Ground ball toward the hole at shortstop. Alfonso is there. He can set to throw and cuts down Cordero 6-3. It will end the inning. Promising start and nothing at the finish. Nothing across, and we're going to the 2nd inning, still scoreless here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. Into the 2nd inning of baseball tonight on one of our Wet Nose Wednesdays. And we see a fan with a wet nose. And the dog, too. No, wait a minute. Well, they were drinking a soda. Who knows? I can't really tell. We love having our 4-legged friends out here. One of my coworkers in the front office had her Labrador Retriever in for a while today, and anybody who knows me knows that is my favorite dog breed. Beagles are a close second, and my son has a beagle, and I love the beagle, but Labradors and I have always gotten along, and this dog Miles and I had some fun. Designated hitter Jerry Downs leads off here in the 2nd inning. 277 hitter with 10 home runs, 40 runs batted in. 0 for 4 last night, but he was hit by a pitch and reached on errors twice. De La Cruz will offer and miss low. Ball 1 and no strikes. I think the Barnstormers pitchers may be feeling a little bit of pressure that they can't give up a whole lot right now. Downs with a ground ball, routine to Mercedes. 1 out here in the second, 4 in a row for De La Cruz. And sometimes you can thrive on that pressure. And this lineup may come through as thinned out as it is. I mean, you lose your top 2 home run hitters. You're really your top 3 home run hitters. Cordero's driving in a lot of runs, but hasn't reached double figures in home runs. So with 1 purchase contract and 2 injuries, the Barnstormers managed to lose 47 home runs.
That's a pretty good chunk.
I kidded Ross earlier today. He's had to fill holes faster than PennDOT.
Oh, we can expand on that, but we'll pass.
Michael Martinez with a swing and a miss, and he trails De La Cruz at 0-2. Michael's almost 40 and still loves every minute of this life. Baseball player through and through. Guy who's been to the World Series. Inside for a ball, 1-2. And it was tempting when he was here back in 2019 with our ball club to kind of refer to Melvin Mercedes, especially because of think about this, the common initials, Michael Martinez, Melvin Mercedes. Melvin is just, he's a lot like Michael, has similar hairstyles. They largely play the same positions. They're both smaller guys. And that ball is rifled and into right field, a base hit for Martinez. First hit on either side. So it was sort of normal to think of Melvin as being Michael's mini-me.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. They're high energy guys, love to play the game, love to be out on the field. They're very good friends. They were double play partners back in 2019.
You know, and even at 40, as long as you can still compete, you know, and play the game, why not? Because the hardest thing for an athlete is to hang it up. A lot of guys know when it's time. Obviously, Martinez hasn't reached that point yet.
Nor is Lou Ford, which was a discussion for about an inning last night with Pete. Inside for ball 1-0.
Is he still an
Lou
active
Ford's
player?
still playing and hitting in the 350s.
Oh, and he's how old?
He'll turn 46 next month.
Good.
1 ball and nothing. That's into the dirt and bouncing away from Peroni, who will make a belated throw, trying to get Martinez. Well, that should be a wild pitch. We'll double check to be certain that was the ruling, except seeing a computer screen right now, that's got to be a wild pitch. But seeing a computer screen right now, not the easiest thing in the world in the land of illumination.
No, we've been fortunate the last couple of games that we've had on that there had been cloud cover at the right time to block out the sun. Not tonight.
2 balls, no strikes. And that is up and in on Alfonso for ball 3. It's 3-0. Giovanni Alfonso, 1 out of 4 last night. From a great baseball family, the Alfonsos.
I still can't get Lou Ford out of my mind at 46.
Pete couldn't either. And then we brought it up because Long Island had 16 runs on the board through 4 innings last night, and Ford had been 3 for 3.
Oh.
And he, I believe, had a 4th hit later on.
I'm trying to think of some guys that played into their 40s in Major League Baseball.
Carlos Baerga, did he not?
Didn't Hoyt Wilhelm play well into his 40s?
Yes. Satchel Paige played into who knows what. Nobody ever knew for sure. One of the great characters of the game. First and second following the walk. Here's the catcher Galino, and he will take high and inside. Well, some trouble for Oscar De La Cruz here in the second inning. Last night was only the 9th time in 35 meetings that the Barnstormers have beaten the High Point Rockers over 3 seasons. We don't see them all that often now, and could be a little grateful to that. They always have a good club.
Oh,
Breaking
my.
ball, and Peroni never saw it, still can't find it, and the runners move to second and third. You've got the glare and some obvious confusion in the signals. De La Cruz probably, certainly more in tune with Colton Shaver. Peroni had been catching about every third game. And now, for the time being anyway, he's it.
Well, and the last couple of pitches have been way up in the strike zone, too. I mean, they have not been close. Boy, De La Cruz really needs to bear down now.
Jay Gonzalez, left-handed batting center fielder, waits on deck. Second and third with 1 out. And Oscar's pitch right there for a called strike. It is 2-1. A single, a walk, a wild pitch, a pass ball. Galino trying to drive in 2. The corners are up, the middle back, strike 2.
Good movement on that pitch, tailed back inside.
There's a guy on this pitching staff, first of all, who doesn't throw hard, and secondly, who doesn't have good movement. Command sometimes can be the question. Here's a 2-2 pitch. That's strike 3.
Boy, that's huge.
Big pitch, a big out. Second strikeout for Oscar De La Cruz here tonight. And that will leave the inning to the center fielder Gonzalez. Left-handed batter who is swinging at a .299 pace. After going 1 for 4 last night, the hit was a bunt. Well, they had a lot of pressure on Eric Manoah last night. He had first and second with nobody out in 4 of his 5 innings. And the ceiling never fell in on him. He was able to get out with minimal harm. Couple of 2-run innings. Second and third now with 2 outs. And Gonzalez will look at a fastball for a strike. Well, ever since that breaking ball got away from Peroni, it looked like he never saw it.
Yeah. And I think you're right. He must have caught the glare of the sun, because you saw him put his head down and put the glove up, hoping he would just stab at it and make the catch. But
or at least keep it in front.
Well, yeah.
2 strikes to Gonzalez. Martinez at third, Alfonso at second. Fastball is just high. Ball 1 and 2 strikes. You know, drawing the comparisons between Michael Martinez and Melvin Mercedes, I see a lot of similarities. And to me, Melvin Mercedes is a good enough player to get to the major leagues. He was just never given that opportunity. I think he got typecast as a utility guy, a role player in the Oakland organization. Bounced around the system. I don't think maybe they never saw him as a prospect, and again, they sort of pigeonholed him.
Yeah.
And because he's had the injuries in 19 and 21, I don't think he ever got a fair look here. Ball 3, high to Gonzalez, filling the count. Ledendorf waits on deck. And to me, Melvin Mercedes is a major league caliber player. Perhaps in a role, maybe not as an everyday player, but his glove certainly is.
So somebody has to make that step to, take the chance.
3-2 is on the way, and Gonzalez hits this into the air left field. A late start, but Torrance can make up the ground. He's there. And De La Cruz pitches out of trouble here in the second. 1 hit, 2 left. We'll go to the bottom half of the second inning. Still scoreless in Lancaster.
Well, our coverage of Lancaster Barnstormers baseball continues tomorrow night here on Blue Ridge 11. Wrap up the series with High Point. First pitch, 6:30 tomorrow night, and then Charleston comes into town, and we'll have telecast for you on Sunday, Tuesday, and Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Those dirty birds coming to town. I had to explain earlier today the origin of that nickname. It sounds so awful to call it dirty birds, but the whole essence of the name is the canary in a coal mine. And when you're talking about Charleston, West Virginia, suddenly it all fits.
Yeah.
And those canaries were ultimately heroes, and that's, of course, the way they think of them there. And they did get very dirty down in the coal mines, but if they didn't make it, they didn't send the miners down.
Wow, take one for the team.
Exactly. Trayvon Robinson leads off and peppers a ball to deep left field. Back on this goes Aklinski all the way back to the wall, and the walls will not contain it. Trayvon Robinson has homered once again. That is number 3, and he gives the Barnstormers a 1-0 lead.
Well, a little power surge here the last 2 nights for Trayvon.
Robinson will fit a role, and right now he knows he's the cleanup hitter, and he's going to adjust his approach. He's going for the power, and he was working hard earlier today in the cage, swinging from the right side. He hasn't been swinging as well right-handed as he has been left-handed, but it's coming around, as you can see. Here's Anderson Felice still batting left on left. He swings and misses down a strike. It is 0-1. And this is the result of an injury. Felice still is not 100%.
Jeez. A mash unit.
Blowing outside, ball 1, strike 1. The pitching staff, not only the 15 active guys are healthy, but Dom DeSabatino told me today he's going to be throwing to live batters this coming weekend, and Tyler Laporte's not far away either. And that spells one thing to me. If we're going to have those two back with everything else is here, it spells trade.
Uh-oh.
If Ross can find a taker. 1 and 2. We'll be overloaded with pitching with needs in other areas. Swing and a miss. Felice goes chasing. Second strikeout for Jonah Scalero. And Jake Hoover, the shortstop, will step in. I don't have to look at the lineup card to know Jake's coming up because we hear Wild Cherry and play that funky music, White Boy, every time he steps in.
I just never know what jersey number he's going to wear.
Well, the number 7 white jersey came up missing during a photo shoot. He'll wear 7 in every other jersey, but he has to wear 20 in white.
Huh.
Scalero's offering, and Hoover pops it up foul. He had a home run last night onto the deck and right, got the Barnstormers back within 1. He has shown more power this year by far than I thought possible in his month with us a year ago, but he has 20 extra base hits now.
Yeah, he homered in the game against York. I forget which night it was that we were here.
Swing and a miss, and it is 0-2. It was the 3-1 win because that was run number 3. That was the Thursday night game.
Okay.
And that was a homer to left. Last night was the essential, the basic, the garden variety Clipper Magazine Stadium just onto the deck special. And he'll go down swinging. That is 3 for Scalero. Yeah, he got one. I think it hit the second row of the seats up on the deck last night. Here's Trace Lair, the third baseman. And I think this guy is going to be one of the keys to the Barnstormers going forward here the next 2 or 3 weeks. He's batting only .202 for the season, but his career history has him being a far better hitter than that. And we've seen shades of it this year. First pitch strike onto the inside corner. It's 0-1. But it's never fully blossomed. He's not getting fooled. He's hitting the ball.
Well, and you hear so many times that maybe a guy just needs to play more often. And you think that's the case now with these injuries and Cordero kind of locked in at first, Lair at third base. He's going to see a lot more swings.
Yeah, he's been the everyday third baseman. But he needs a couple of balls to drop here and there, too. 1-1. He'll swing and he'll miss against Scalaro. Ball 1, 2 strikes. Robinson now, amazingly, he's up to 25 runs batted in with that home run. 11 in 5 games.
It's a nice little tear.
Here comes the 1-2. Inside and low, ball 2, 2 balls and 2 strikes. As I think our need right now here in the broadcast booth has reached SPF 120.
But it's not really that hot, though. I mean,
it doesn't feel that hot, no. But I believe that if I were wearing a piece of American cheese, it would be melted under the broiler. 2-2. And a Lair low and outside. Good take for Trace, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Very good defensive third baseman. The bobble earlier tonight, notwithstanding, he still got the out. He also was guilty of one last night. Barnstormers just don't seem to ever play their best defensively against High Point for whatever reason. 3-2 pitch, bounded foul. So nice long at bat here for Trace Lair against Jonas Scalaro. That Felice and Hoover both were put away pretty quickly.
You know, and I saw the first inning last night, and I heard Pete say, you know, sometimes teams just have the other team's number for whatever reason. And right now it seems to be the case with High Point, although a nice win last night and a nice at-bat there by Lair.
The Barnstormers have a handful of wins here. Down at Truist Point, that's just been ugly over the years. I think Lancaster's won maybe once or twice in that ballpark. Here is Peroni batting 171, a homer, 9 runs batted in. And a very big mantle got thrown onto his shoulders when Shaver was signed by Toronto. Needs to break out a bit offensively. There have been some signs lately. Fastball is strike 1.
Yeah, and it's always bittersweet. I mean, obviously that's the goal here for a lot of these guys, but when you got a nice combination of Peroni and Shaver working behind the plate, now you're down to 1. It makes it difficult.
And Peroni hasn't been 100%. He had sat for about 5 days before Colton left, out with a little hamstring tweak, which can be a tough injury if you're a catcher.
Mm-hmm.
He says catching's fine. He swings and misses against more Scalaro off-speed stuff.
So was there any point in time during this season that there was a healthy roster?
No. We can't find it.
Oh,
going back through, it started out of the gate. Dugan had a little bit of a quad issue, missed the first couple of games, and then he was back, and Hoover got hurt. Ladarius Clark's grandma passed away. That's strike 3 called, and Scalaro is racking them up. That is number 4, but Robinson gives the Barnstormers a lead with a solo home run leading off. Lair with the walk. He's left on base, and it's 1-0 Lancaster through 2. The Barnstormers take the lead on the long ball, and that was to left field, so you can never take anything away from a hitter who goes in that direction in this ballpark. Not only is it far deeper to left than it is to right, but the wind blows from left to right. It only accentuates the oblong nature of this facility. Now Oscar De La Cruz will work to the top of the order as we hit the third inning tonight here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. Game 2 of a 3-game set against High Point, the only series the Rockers are here all year. The Barnstormers have another visit to Truist Point coming up in the waning weeks of the season. We were there opening week, Tuesday through Thursday, and that didn't go very well for Lancaster. The Barnstormers were still trying to find their way, and that first road trip, opening night they won, but it was kind of a shaky game. The Barnstormers won it 5-2. Gann was pretty dominant into the 5th inning. Lancaster had a couple, 2 or 3 wild pitches, past balls in that game, 7 stolen bases for the Honey Hunters, which just set the tone for the season. That team loves to run, and it's everybody top to bottom pretty much. Outside and low on Ladendorf for ball 1.
Talking about the pitching, what has Ross said about the pitchers in the second half of the season? What's been the difference?
Well, he loves the staff, and it's just part of it is the growth of Niall Ball. That's been part of it. We talked about that specifically today. He has just come a long, long way. Fouled over toward the on-deck circle in Aklinski, 1 and 2 on Ladendorf. That has been part of it. Getting anchors to the starting rotation, and you got them back-to-back in Niall Ball and Brooks Hall. Any given time, they can come out and just shut an opponent down completely, and they've done it for 7-8 innings at a time. 1-2. And that is grounded slowly on the right side. After it is Mercedes. Ladendorf's retired. 1 gone here in the 3rd. Aklinski will step in. He struck out looking back in the 1st inning. And then Schumann and Graham coming back helps to solidify the bullpen, although neither one's closing right now. Ross has given the ball to West Tunnel to close out games, and he hasn't lost a game yet. He's 4 for 4 in the closing capacity. So for the time being, that job is his, but you've just got a lot of electric arms in the bullpen. First pitch, slightly outside for a ball, 1-0.
Yeah, that's a good situation to be, a good dilemma to have, really.
Augie Silk's now in the bullpen, and Augie can come in for an inning like he did last night and be highly effective, and he was. He got the win last night. Popped up on the right side. Calling for it is Cordero. He'll make the catch in foul ground. 2 up, 2 down, and Logan Morrison will come to the plate.
And I like this, two quick outs. Boy, if De La Cruz ever needed a short inning, this is it. He got a 1-0 lead. You want a shutdown inning the following half inning and not throw a lot of pitches, and so far, so good.
Two outs, nobody on. Morrison to the plate. Here's a guy who hit a couple of absolute monstrous home runs opening week against the Barnstormers last year in 1 game. Strike to the inside corner at the knees. De La Cruz works ahead. And Morrison has a question for Derek Moshe.
Can only imagine.
And sometimes that question can be, is that as far as he can go inside? It doesn't necessarily come across as, are you nuts? It probably wasn't. It very often is that as far as you're going to give him? Does he have room to go? There's a fly ball deep to right field, and we've got a tie ball game. Logan Morrison levels the score, matching the home run hit by Robinson in the bottom of the 2nd. That is Morrison's 9th home run of the year. He'll circle the bases, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't have said anything about the fast inning for De La Cruz. Should have took notice to who was coming up. Yikes.
Coming into this series, High Point understands what the Barnstormers are going through. Coming into this series, they've come off some key games against the Gastonia Honey Hunters. They didn't have Morrison or Aklinski. And they're two of High Point's big guns. They're back now. They were both reactivated yesterday. And it's really hard when your offense is, at least the middle of the order's gutted like that. The Barnstormers going through it right now. They've still got Cordero, but they're missing the guys who have been batting 3, 5, and 6. And then you can get other guys out of their comfort zones. Obviously not Robinson right now. 0-1, and that is slammed but foul down the left side. Couple of strikes on Wheel.
I'm thinking to myself, so why is Logan Morrison not getting any looks? He's 35 years old. I didn't realize he was that old.
He actually got picked up last year. His contract was purchased by Cincinnati after a fast start in this league last year.
He'll be 35 in August, but I didn't realize he was in his 30s. I thought he was late 20s.
Yeah, he's been around a good while. Spent several years at the major league level. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here is the windup by De La Cruz, and that is a swing and a miss. He goes down on strikes. Peroni went to fire the ball around. That was out number 3. 1 run scores on the home run. The home run's offset, and we're tied going into the bottom of the 3rd. Lower half of the 3rd inning and Clipper Magazine Stadium on a Wednesday night with the wet nose Wednesday. We've got a lot of our 4-legged friends. Ryan Cortazzo, this is always a special night. This is our game day staff appreciation night, and we give the ticket takers and ushers the night off. They get the use of the picnic deck, and our full-time staff fills in. But Ryan also wanted to honor those that couldn't have the night off, like John Whitmer. What's Clipper Magazine Stadium without you? Gotta have him on the PA mic. It was so weird when he missed a couple of days due to sickness on our last homestand. We didn't know what to do.
He is the voice.
He absolutely is. And Tom Richards in the music room. They're a pair.
Oh,
in more ways than one. Devon Torrance stands in. He'll look at a ball down low. Certainly somebody Scalero does not want to walk leading off an inning. Torrance just back from a death in the family. There's a bunt, and a pretty good one. Wow. They ain't getting him.
You might just eat it, and that's the only thing Martinez could do. Beautiful bunt.
Martinez played with Devon, he knows. And he did that from the right side of the plate. But that is placed as perfectly as you can.
After that first or second hop, that just started to roll almost to a stop.
And Devon told me earlier today he's going to hit a home run tonight. And I said, I don't care about the home run, Devon, just 4 total bases. However you want to break them up is fine with me. A couple of doubles, 4 singles, I don't care.
He's got 1 so far.
He's got 1. Here is Dunston, who walked and was thrown out at second base because Mercedes impeded the throw. First pitch strike from Scalero. It is 0-1. This Jonas Scalero has been very impressive. They coached them well in the D1 ranks.
It seemed a little erratic at first, but has settled in nicely.
Next offering, chopper foul. He has Dunston 0-2. Mercedes waiting on deck, and then Cordero. And apparently another one of the areas where Scalero is pretty well coached up is holding runners at first base. Because it took until the 6th or 7th pitch to Mercedes. The count was 3-2 before he took off there. And you haven't seen Torrance go yet. Scalero looking toward first, coming to the plate. And again, no movement from the runner at first. And this is a situation where arguably you would like to have your runner in motion.
Yeah. Well, Scalero doesn't have a big leg kick, more of a slide. So really it's going to come down to the timing. And Torrance with a good sized lead.
High and tight. Dunston will bat it 2-2. And here we are with Sean working the count again. You certainly like the combination with Torrance at first and Dunston at the plate.
Oh, yeah.
You got a lot of options maybe for more little ball here. Morrison holding the runner. He does take off. Here's a 2-2, a swing and a miss. The throw from the knees, and that ends up in center field. Making the dash for third is Torrance, and he will be in there. Dunston strikes out, but Torrance swipes his 6th of the year, makes it the 3rd on the throwing error by Galeno, and Mercedes can now give the Barnstormers a lead with an out. And that's the situation you like to be in.
Well, you know Devon's going to come back and say, look, I got 2 more bases there.
I'll give him 1. Statistically, it does not count as a total base.
High Point playing in.
Mercedes will lift this to right field, not terribly deep. Coming on for it is Wheel. He will make the catch, and there's really no opportunity for Torrance to come home and score. And Cordero will need a base hit.
Very wise decision to hold up.
Yeah, you
Strong,
have,
accurate
you
throw
have to there.
Yep.
I mean, there might be a right fielder or 2 around you would take that gamble with, but typically not.
No. Well, we'll see if Steady Andretti can come through.
But I think Ross would take that gamble if it weren't Cordero on deck, because this guy's been driving in a lot of runs. 0 for 1 tonight. Cordero with a foul to the right side. But the Barnstormers seriously do not have Scalero gauged at all, except for Robinson.
Yeah, he jumped all over that one.
First pitch he saw. He gauged it perfectly and slammed it out of the yard to left. Swing and a miss. Cordero's down 0-2. Scalero, it seems to be a lefty slider, kind of almost shades of, maybe not as good as, but Guidry or Carlton, but that kind of pitch. And it's got the right-handed hitters swinging over the top of it.
It's a nice out pitch to have, that's for sure. Especially if it's you throw it effectively.
No balls, 2 strikes. And Cordero held on the swing. Pitch was in the dirt. It's ball 1, 2 strikes. So the Barnstormers still breathing here in the lower half of the 3rd inning.
Yeah, he did go.
The Rockers are winning the pitch count war right now. 48 for Scalero, and De La Cruz has thrown 57. Neither one terribly high. Cordero bats 1-2, and he'll take 2 balls and 2 strikes. This is about where we were the last at bat. He looked bad for a couple swings, took a couple, and eventually grounded out. Looking to improve upon that here. Defense really spread out against Andretti. You have to. 2-2 pitch. I got him. Man, that has been absolutely vicious here tonight. Scalero strikes out his 6th in just 3 innings. The Barnstormers leave the runner at third, and at the end of 3, it's tied at 1. Tied going into the 4th inning, and the little one learning about what a great time being at the ballpark is. Got the ball cap on. The bill doubles the size of his head. Enjoying food at the ballpark. Is that ice cream? It probably is.
It's got to be.
It's got to be. Of course it is. Now, Pete and I, we went down this rabbit hole and said, teach them how to keep a scorecard.
Yeah.
Maybe a little too young for that, but by the time kids are 7 or 8, to really gain an appreciation for this game, they need to learn how to keep a scorecard, to know what's been going on in the game, to track it, to see the trends. Designated hitter Jerry Downs stands in.
And not keeping it on the phone. You got to have it in the program with a pencil. Old school.
Absolutely. Because then you can see that the whole thing's in front of you.
Yeah.
Foul back, it's 1-1. 2 hits apiece.
Now, I have to admit, the one score sheet that would be extremely difficult to keep would be the Major League All-Star game with all the changes.
Or, for that matter, any All-Star game.
Yeah.
Even an Atlantic League All-Star game, and we've hosted a couple of them here. It can be a challenge.
What, have they had 2 here?
07 and 16.
Okay.
Great times to be had on both. I don't know if there are any plans for a future Atlantic League All-Star game. I think this league, as is the case in affiliated baseball, they've become very accustomed to having the Mondays off every week and every non-holiday week. They think it's better for business, and it does not allow for a 3 or 4 day break in the middle of the season. You've already used up your allowable off days. Here's a 2-2 pitch, little pop fly on the left side. That's going to kick foul, and fortunately it did so in front of the bag, or we would have been looking at one of the quirkiest base hits I've ever seen. Not hit high enough for Lair to get there with a ton of English on it, and it dropped fair and kicked sideways foul before the bag. If that happens behind the base, that could end up being the shortest double ever. And it only missed by a matter of, 5-10 feet. Here's a 2-2 on Downs, and that is fouled straight back into the screen. And not as interesting as the previous one.
I've seen a couple of long at-bats here by these Rockers batters.
Two and two. A lot of room along the third base side. And a Downs, nubbed foul. We keep it going.
So you're thinking that the All-Star game is a thing of the past then, as far as the Atlantic League?
It may well be, unless somebody.
I thought it was just because of COVID.
That was originally what did this, and then certainly affiliated leagues, and I think the Atlantic League looked at it again and said, well, these Mondays off are good because Mondays are not good for business. They take the averages down. 2-2 pitch. That's ball 3 down low, and Downs really working it here against Oscar De La Cruz to start off the 4th inning.
Well, okay, I understand it as far as the scheduling and logistics and everything else, but would you think they would still do something as far as just nominating?
Well, there was.
Okay.
There was. Maybe you didn't get the release. Colton Shaver and Kelly Dugan, we should have talked about this earlier, were named first half All-Stars.
There we go.
In the Atlantic League. On the Rockers, they have Bennett Klinsky and Xander Wheel, first half All-Stars. Strike 3 at the knees.
Beautiful.
Downs is out looking. That is the 4th strikeout for Oscar tonight. He's averaged right about 1 an inning. And Jerry Downs has some words of wisdom for Derek Moshe. Here comes Jamie Keefe out.
No, that was a great location. That was right at the knees.
Yeah. This umpiring crew and the Rockers have not necessarily been cordial over the last 2 nights, shall we say. Here's Michael Martinez, who has the other hit besides the home run for High Point in the game. De La Cruz will serve that at the knees for a strike call.
You know, Downs can question that, but it's too close of a pitch to take. But from that replay, that was right at the knees.
Pulled on the right side. This will belong to Melvin, and he'll throw out Martinez. 2 outs. The batter will be Alfonso.
Yeah, so I'm glad that they still have the nominations. You know, even if you don't play the game, these guys need to get recognized for what they did in the first half of the season.
There were 13 players named.
And they're still jawing.
Third base umpire Nate Caldwell is going at it with the High Point dugout. Caldwell and Moshe always work together, and they will back each other, and McConville's become the third man. We don't have set umpiring crews in the Atlantic League any longer, but it's kind of become that way, and now Jamie Keefe has ceded the third base coaching duties to Bert Gonzalez. Maybe to get a different look at balls and strikes here. Alfonso with a swing and a miss. But it's been testy.
I thought I saw Downs do the old Bo Jackson and break a bat over his knee at the far end of the dugout. I mean, he is still hot.
One strike on Alfonso. De La Cruz spins it outside and low. We get to a 1 ball and 1 strike count. I mean, you're going to have these times during the season. It gets to be a grind, and
sure,
if you feel like the umpire is giving you the short end of fairness or being incredibly inconsistent, it's one of those things that gets into your mindset and does not. Every pitch you see goes the wrong way now.
Yeah. Well, Jamie Keefe and I'm looking at Jamie Keefe and Frank Viola, and they're talking it over.
Still 1 ball and 2 strikes.
So the question is, has a fuse been lit here tonight? Could we see another ejection?
Well, as I said, if it happens on the Barnstormers side, it's got to be one of the coaches.
Yeah.
Or an off-day starting pitcher taking one for the team. 1 ball,
Manoa.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Fastball, that's strike 3 called. Another called third strike. It is the 4th for Oscar De La Cruz in the game. And that can get you hot under the collar if you're the team on the receiving end of that. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th inning, still tied at 1. Is there anything better than ballpark food? We had a little of everything working right there. But I don't see any ice cream.
It is only the 4th inning.
It is just the 4th. Now we have the frozen drinks. Yes, we have a little of everything. We, I think, have the best concessions array in the Atlantic League. Just one of the many reasons to come out and enjoy a night here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. Where else can you get Otto's meatballs in the concession stand? It threw Eric for a loop the first day.
It did.
He thought he was getting a meatball sub, and it's literally just a bucket of meatballs.
In a Barnstormer helmet.
In a Barnstormer helmet. Here's Robinson. He homered his first time up. That's the Barnstormer run. Logan Morrison has homered for the Rockers run. Each side with just 2 hits. And a lot of strikeouts. Ball is low. Robinson doesn't chase. 1 ball and nothing. Trayvon Robinson has been around this game a long time since he initially signed with the Dodgers. Outside, ball 2. Good friends with Josh Bell from there, and he came up with Kenley Jansen back when Jansen was a catcher.
That's right. I forgot he was not a pitcher. That's a big catcher. Man.
And we thought Colton Shaver was big.
Yes.
To the outside corner, Robinson taking, and I think wisely. It's 2-1. Been very impressed with Jonas Scalara. Young man knows what he's doing out on the mound. 2 balls and 1 strike. Robinson will look at a fastball at the knees. He's mixed it up really well. 2-2.
Yeah, you got to think maybe he was a little amped up at the beginning of the game. Yeah.
He walked Dunston. Yeah, he walked Dunston, but it took a while.
Yeah.
Lair picked up a walk in the second. 2-2. Robinson chops at the third. Backing up on it is Michael Martinez. He's got the arm to throw Trayvon out. Leadoff man retired in the 4th inning, and Anderson Felice will step in. Got to look at Michael. I love the story that he told me when I interviewed him back in 19, that professionally he started off as a basketball player in the Dominican Republic. I asked him why the late start in baseball, and that was the explanation. Felice stands in. Fastball for a strike, 0-1. His relationship with the Barnstormers started off when Patrick Osborne, the one-time third baseman and manager of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, who had left to go to the Yankees organization, recommended him to Butch Hobson after he had to release him. Breaking ball for a strike, it's 0-2. Felice is just one of those guys who's so valuable to have on a team in the Atlantic League because he can do a little of everything except right now switch hit. He plays 7 positions. He was not the answer to the catching situation, though. He's never done that.
Yeah.
0-2, taken low. Last night I said that Melvin Mercedes, when he caught a line drive kind of down on his haunches late in the ball game, was volunteering to be the emergency catcher on this club. And I pointed out that he has caught 1 inning professionally. 1-2. And Felice looks at ball 2. And that, I don't know if that was slightly up or slightly inside, but it was close on both counts.
I don't think the catching position is guys are going to jump to the front of the line to do.
No, you've got to have a special makeup to do that, and you can't just put anybody back there unless your name is Terry Tiffey, which is another great story from Barnstormers history.
Oh, yes. Remember that name?
Here's a 2-2, ball 3.
Because he was primarily
the third
first
baseman.
and third?
Third baseman, yeah, and first. Mostly third. And there was the one night in Bridgeport where Butch had to redo his lineup card just before the game because Jesus Merchan had his contract purchased, I believe it was by San Diego. It's not germane to the story. So Butch had to change his lineup card, and he messed it up. and both catchers were scratched from the game because of it. And Tiffy took over behind the plate and handled a win. Swing and a miss, 3-2, an extra inning win. He blocked the plate to tag out the potential winning run in the bottom of the 9th inning. Tiffy also had, to go along with that, one of the worst nights at the plate in Barnstormers history. He had the platinum sombrero.
Oh, gee. Well, he was worried about his
he was
defense.
worried about catching, calling the game. He hadn't done it at all since high school.
We'll give him the pass on that.
Hoover swings and misses at high heat. He struck out his previous time up. Scalero has thrown a masterful performance here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. Yeah, Butch, after that all happened and Willie Upshaw challenged the lineup card, the umpires granted Willie his wishes because he was right. 1-1. And Butch went back to the dugout and said, "All right, which one of you," I'll paraphrase, "guys, has ever caught before?"
Wow, to be a fly on the wall of that dugout when that question was presented.
Adam Godwin played third base for the only time in his career, and he looked like a cat pouncing on a mouse, but he made every play on the ground balls hit over there. We used, I think, John Halama pinch ran in that game. It was an absolute hot mess, but it was so much fun, and the club won the game in extra innings. Hoover goes after the 1-2, pops this up, foul territory. The bullpen scatters for Morrison, but he still is unable to get there. And Hoover is alive at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, you got to tip your cap to Jonas Scalero tonight. And this is why somebody can come out of a major college program and jump right in and compete, and we're seeing it because they're schooled so well in the game.
Yep.
They may not necessarily have the so-called ceiling that major league teams are looking for. Here's a 1-2. Fastball is high. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Hoover.
But you take a chance with a guy like this, he can make an impact here. Now all of a sudden he's going to get attention of scouts. You just got to be given that opportunity.
Here's a 2-2. Hoover fouls it to the top of the net. It's turned into a pitcher's duel tonight. 1 run each side on a solo homer. But each club with just 2 hits. Each club has drawn 2 walks. De La Cruz has struck out 5, Scalero 7.
Yeah, Scalero just that one mistake. Pitch to Robinson.
Here's a 2-2. That is low to Hoover and bouncing away from Galino.
Run!
We don't see Jake Hoover doing it. I think Johnny Turbo now has done it 4 times for the Long Island Ducks. Clark twice here opening night, and we've had Dilson Herrera do it against the Barnstormers, but that's been it. Getting the base hit, says Harold Reynolds. 3-2. And the payoff, he went after that off-speed pitch again. Hoover is gone on strikes. That is 8 for Scalero. Wow. Nothing doing in the 4th inning for the Barnstormers, and we're still tied at 1. look up above in the suites here at the ballpark tonight, and the ketchup and mustard bottles turned upside down after everybody dining on ballpark hot dogs. Yum.
You have to. It's, I don't want to say it's mandatory, but you go to a ballpark, you got to have a hot dog. Although some of this food that they serve in some of the stadiums nowadays, jeez.
Well, outside of this ballpark, the best menu item I have seen in an Atlantic League facility, besides the donuts in Staten Island, which I got to try that the next time we go there. They have a donut stand. It's not open. I think it's just open on the weekends. But they have a donut stand. I walked by it a couple of times when we were there. I'm like, well, this is unusual, but I love the idea. At Gastonia, and I actually had this the last day we were there, a pulled pork mac and cheese bowl.
Oh.
It went for like $10.
That sounds good.
Below the knees for a ball, and the catcher Galino won and home. It was quite good. It wasn't necessarily Carolina barbecue, as one would expect. It was just regular old pulled pork, but man, was that good. Fouled away 1-1. They used to have in Sugarland, first few years they opened, they had a brisket platter, which was a barbecued brisket, mac and cheese, which they made on site. And I was in there at one point while they were making it. It was an elaborate recipe, and it was so good. Best mac and cheese I've ever eaten. And they had, of course, the beans, which go with everything in Texas, and a corn muffin. That was an amazing ballpark meal. 1-2 pitch, popped up right side. Sprinting back is Cordero. Over goes Felice, and neither will have a chance, although Andretti threatens to go into the crowd after it. It's either that or he heard us talking about the hot dogs and wanted to go have one. I'm not sure. He is a fun young man. Oh, everybody just loves him here. He is a treat. And you'd love to see him get back to a major league organization, but that's somebody, I don't know, I can see him playing here for a few years if that doesn't happen for him. Breaking ball is low, 2-2. He loves being at the ballpark. He's the essence of a big kid. Chopper past the mound. Hoover's got a tough play. He'll cut it loose and get it. 6-3, nicely done by Jake Hoover. 1 out.
Boy, I tell you, once it got past the mound, it slowed down tremendously. I didn't think Hoover was going to have a play, but
you did have the catcher running. Hoover with a very quick release there.
Exactly. That was the key. Watch the transition. Great play.
1 out, and Gonzalez will step in. The Barnstormers are blessed to have the gloves around the infield they do.
Well, and that's got to give the pitching staff a lot of confidence, too, knowing, okay, if the opponents put the ball in play, he's got a solid defense behind him that's going to come up and make plays for him.
Gonzalez trailing in the count, 0-2. I don't know if High Point's coaching staff has bristled on either of those two. Oscar De La Cruz working with 1 out here in the 5th, and that ball is fouled away. Still 2 strikes. Out, up onto the hill. Jay Gonzalez, a Californian. He'll swing, miss, and it's held by Peroni. Make it half a dozen for Oscar tonight. This Barnstormers team racks up a ton of strikeouts. They're headed for a club record. They average nearly 1 an inning. This staff has the greatest collection of arms that we've had here. Maybe not know-how, maybe not location or command, but when it comes to just the sheer raw talent of the stuff, is just the vernacular. I've never seen a Barnstormers team with better, and maybe not an Atlantic League team with better. High to Ladendorf. It is ball 1 and no strikes. And of course, more and more pitchers throw hard, and but these guys, they've got a lot of great off-speed pitches. their secondary pitches are tremendous in a lot of cases, like there. 1-1 on Ladendorf, who was walked and grounded out.
Well, and with the injuries that they've sustained now to their position players, they're going to need the pitching staff even more so here the next couple of weeks.
Well, this is the kind of start you've got to get every game. You can't afford to lose the DH. It's that simple.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Barnstormers lose the DH, it's not an automatic loss, but they're in a world of trouble.
Yeah. And the way this game started for De La Cruz, a lot of pitches to Ladendorf leading off the ball game, and a lot of pitches through the first 2 innings. I'm thinking, geez, I hope he can make it to the 5th. But De La Cruz has settled in really nicely.
Yep. Well, at least with the other 4 starters, you'd have De La Cruz to pinch hit. We've seen he's the best hitting pitcher that this club has. He's got the only hit. I think the staff is 1 for 14, and it was a clean line single. Chopper again towards shortstop, hustling in is Hoover. He'll get rid of it quickly again, and this time it's not good enough to get Ladendorf. Infield single for the High Point second baseman, and Aklinski will step in. That's the difference between the guys at the plate.
Yeah.
And there was sort of a little bit of a false step there, too. And he didn't get the throw there in time. And that is the correct call, I think.
Wow.
But it was close.
It was close.
Cordero, pretty good stretch.
And it goes back to, like you said, that little step that Hoover made to try and adjust on that ground ball.
Fastball at the knees, strike 1 on Aklinski, who's 0 for 2. 2 outs and a runner aboard on an infield single. You listen to, with the release of the Atlantic League first half All-Stars, it was done by Ballpark Digest, and it was released on video, hosted by Jesse Goldberg Strassler, who's on staff of Ballpark Digest and also the voice of the Lansing Lugnuts in the Midwest League. And I've known Jesse for a long time. I talked to him when he was a kid. He's from the Maryland suburbs of D.C. I've known Jesse a long time. And that ball is hit in the air toward the right field corner and foul. Make it 1 ball and 2 strikes on Aklinski. But anyway, they interviewed Stan Clyburn and Goose Gazzo, the first half managers, and they were named co-managers of the All-Star team. And Stan talked about, one, how his club, the ball just bounced the right way for them in the first half. And that it did. But they fight every at-bat, every situation. Popped up foul, and there's Peroni making a nice catch. 1 hit, 1 left. Bottom of the 5th will come around, still tied at 1. And folks enjoying the night on the benches at the base of the hillside. And that can be home run country out there if you get the right hitter like Trayvon Robinson or Xander Wheel. Sitting above the sign of my hometown store. I went to the same high school as Mr. Wegman, believe it or not.
Is that right?
About 30 years apart. Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe more. Wegmans, I mean, I remember Wegmans supermarkets when I was a kid growing up. And they weren't what they are now. They were just more or less your regular city or suburban supermarket from back in the 60s.
Right.
And then they developed the model that you see now, like the one here in Lancaster, of the elaborate superstore with the cheese shop and 24 different kinds of olives. Here's Trace Lair. He walked back in the second inning against Scalaro. He's allowed the Barnstormers merely 4 base runners in 4 innings. Lair, partial swing, fouls it back into the net. This has been a marvelously pitched game on both sides.
Yeah, we got to find something to talk about besides food, because I didn't grab something to eat before the game, and now you're talking about brisket and mac and cheese and olives. Oh.
Ball one is outside and low, 1-1. I'll never forget Mark Francis, who was our first athletic trainer at Backer in 05 and 06. And that was Mark's standard line about Wegmans. He was in awe of all the varieties of olives that they had. And he always followed that with, and I don't even like olives.
I never realized that there were that. I'm just a standard pimento. You know, I don't want a seed in my olive or a pit.
Ball 3 is inside and low on Lair, and he's got a chance to reach again here in the 5th inning. 3 balls, 1 strike. Scalaro has walked 2, and he has chalked up 8 strikeouts in 4 innings.
So you an olive fan?
I like them all.
Oh.
Except right off the tree. Don't ever fall for that one.
Not good.
Horrendous. That's why they soak them in brine for so long. I've seen somebody fall for that prank out in California. I have a very good friend that is from olive country out there in the Central Farming Valley. And they pull that prank on people all the time. I was forewarned. 3-2. Lair will get the walk. He's on for the second time. The Barnstormers have a chance with the leadoff runner aboard here in the 5th inning. It brings on Anthony Peroni, a strikeout victim his first time up. Again, good off-speed pitch, and he didn't miss with it by much, but it did look slightly low.
Yeah. You could see just the head and shoulders of Alfonso. He was jumping up and down. He thought it was a strike.
That was close.
Yeah, but it did appear low.
Here's Peroni. He's going to swing away, and he lashes a foul to the right. It's 0-1. Well, this is a situation where Ross Peoples could begin to think about bunting. And we only bring up balls and strikes simply because it's been a little bit contentious on both sides in this series and led to the ejection of Frank Viola last night. The set, here comes the 0-1, and it's darted right straight through. A second strike on Peroni. Scalaro certainly doesn't tip his pitches very well, and the Barnstormers are left up there. Is it the fastball or is it one of the sliders or changeup? Because it doesn't seem like they can pick up the difference. And he's on the second time through the order. Fastball is high to Peroni. Ball 1, 2 strikes. And De La Cruz, it looks like maybe coming out after 5 innings of work tonight. And Scalaro should have a little bit more clothesline than that. But you never know. If this turns into a long inning, that could change. Here's a 1-2. Peroni with a lazy fly ball toward left center field. Coming on is Gonzalez for the catch. Lancaster can't get anything going against Scalaro.
Well, and you mentioned it at the start of the telecast. The top half of this Lancaster lineup has really been hitting the ball well. In order to really make a run, they're going to need contribution in 1 through 9. Love to see something here at the bottom half of this order.
Just got a look at the new catcher, Tyler Hill, who's headed down into the bullpen again. Not here in time to activate him tonight. Devon Torrance, the batter, And he'll take a breaking ball at the top of the zone for strike one. 1 out, 1 on. Torrance must have stolen a base somewhere tonight. Yeah, he did. That was his 6th of the year. 0-1, and we get a one-hopper to second. They will get the out. Alfonso will deal back to first, and it's a very quick double play, 4-6-3. And the leadoff walk does nothing for the Barnstormers. Second time tonight they've had a leadoff walk, and a double play has been turned of some form. And now at the end of 5, we remain in a 1-1 tie. This is Cole Aker now in for the Barnstormers. This is another case where the white jersey is missing, so he wears a different white uniform. This is Cole Aker has come on here in the top half of the 6th inning. This is another one of the just terrific pickups for Ross Peoples over the course of the year. I know some folks have grown a little bit impatient. The Barnstormers, a couple of losing seasons in a row. 19 was just seemingly a lost cause from the outset, and last year so much pitching was taken away. The Barnstormers could never recover, and folks are getting a little bit anxious because we all want a winning team here in Lancaster. Well, I think Ross has actually put one together. I really believe that from the bottom of my heart, but he just can't keep a healthy team on the field, and what can you do about, I mean, you want guys getting picked up by major league organizations. That's why they're here. As you get a look at the Barnstormers manager. But where other teams have gotten players out of college or guys with very, very little professional experience, Ross has been able to bring in Dunston and Aker and Clark and go on down the list, Tunnel, and really build himself a ball club. And I think, if you have Shaver and Dugan and Clark, this team, it could be almost unstoppable.
So, especially the way the pitching has fallen into place for him here now. Yeah. Well, you can only hope that, Dugan is back sooner rather than later. Clark, of course, is going to be a question mark.
Yeah, I would say September at the earliest from what I've heard. First pitch from Aker is outside to Morrison, who is responsible for the Rockers' run tonight on a home run. This High Point organization is very classy. Strike taken on the outer edge. It's 1-1. Logan Morrison walked up to me in High Point, introduced himself. Bennett Klinsky, same thing. At the time, I was talking with Quincy Lattimore, which we have a running joke between the two of us. We haven't seen Quincy the last couple of days playing, but he is here. Fouled away. It is 1-2. But they have been a tremendous addition to the Atlantic League. Now, only if they could get a visiting broadcast booth. Hint, hint, folks down in North Carolina. That would be the most enjoyable place to go in this league, and one of the most enjoyable ever. Except I have to broadcast from right field. It's uncomfortable.
Well, maybe you need to be...
1-2 pitch, and Morrison hits this skyward to shallow center. Here comes the trio, and nobody can get there. That is down for a base hit. Everybody thought it was hit a lot deeper than it was, and nobody could recover. And that's a ball generally I think Jake Hoover takes, but I don't think he thought it was shallow either. And then Dunston sprinting in, got the glove on it, and couldn't control it. It'll go down as a base hit because he was diving when the ball came in and out of the glove.
Well, and with a guy like Morrison that can hit it a mile, you could see on the replay, Dunston, his first step was back, and then he had to kick it into high gear and dive at it and almost came up with the catch. But, yeah, it sounded like it was going to go a lot further than what it actually did.
Everybody thought that ball was going to carry to at least medium center field.
Yeah.
When it first came off the bat, Hoover didn't start after it. Dunston, as you said, took a step back and then had the ball come out of his gloves. He dove forward. Now Xander Wheel hits a ball deep down the left field line. Way back it goes, and that is going to be a foul ball. Well, the Barnstormers dodged one there.
Oh, big time.
This guy's scary. He may scare me more than Carlos Franco and Courtney Hawkins. All the damage he's done to the Barnstormers. You get a look at that one again. Belted down the left side and up to the walkway.
Yeah, I'd say that had home run distance.
You think?
Man.
1 ball, 1 strike. Morrison, the base runner, on the bloop single. Aker to Wheel. Breaking ball is low. 2 balls and a strike. And I have a suggestion. After watching this guy connect against Tunnel last night, hit that one there. No more pitches in his wheelhouse.
It might be easier said than done.
2-1. He seems to have a pretty big wheelhouse.
Yeah.
That is low, ball 3. The 1 strike, scary. Almost produced 2 runs. And Eric isn't even giving me the honor of going after that line and hitting me or something. So I expected a reaction, and I didn't get one, and now I'm sitting here scoffing. 3-1.
I was staring at the screen thinking, okay, where do you pitch this guy? And I'm sorry I missed the setup.
I was sitting on that one all night. And I'm just surprised it didn't hit me before tonight.
Well, then that's a swing and a miss on my part.
3 balls and 2 strikes.
So it's not even a swing. I got caught looking.
Morrison has 1 steal. See if he's off here at 3-2. Aker comes to the set. Still a 1-1 ball game, and the payoff the wheel is popped up foul out of play. And they're coming after him with fastballs.
I like it, and he tried to climb the ladder and go up in the zone. Make him chase it. Yeah, this is a guy that you don't want to make a mistake to. And the thing is, even anywhere in that strike zone could be wheelhouse material for him.
3-2. Aker comes set. Here is the payoff, and that's foul to the net as he took something off. Still 3-2. De La Cruz gave up 3 hits in his 5 innings of work. He walked 2, struck out 6, and the run on the Morrison homer. He also was charged with a wild pitch. So that's a pretty solid outing for Oscar. But he had thrown a total of 91 pitches. And Ross decided to lift him. 3-2, Aker to Wheel. The runner holds the payoff, and this one is belted deep to left field. Back on this goes Torrance. Torrance to the track, and he collides into the fence and holds the baseball. Quite a play for Devon Torrance, and now he is dazed. Will it stop, please?
Oh, no,
he's wincing. It's a heck of a catch by Devon Torrance, taking extra bases from Xander Wheel. But again, we keep asking this question, at what cost? Torrance wasn't quite sure where he was and backed into the fence there.
Now, what you can't see is
the chain link behind it and where the poles are.
And I think his left elbow hit one of those poles because that's what he was grabbing. And that's going to feel a little tight on him, but that was a really nice catch. He knew the fence was coming. You could see he was bracing himself.
Well, Devon's played enough left field here to know you just keep going. That fence comes up eventually, but it's not immediate at all. It's a tough play for outfielders to come in here to play left because you're expecting that wall to happen sooner. And it just doesn't. You run out of room.
He played college football?
He played college football.
Oh,
and that ball is cranked deep down the right field line, and that one is foul.
Wow.
Off the bat of Jerry Downs.
But these guys are locked in right now on Aker.
Not too many secrets.
No.
Good heavens. They've had injuries. They've had a lot of pitchers either get hurt or be acquired by major league organizations. And it's certainly hurt the Rockers. That and their inability, it seems, to beat Gastonia. They're 1-11 in the season series, and that's the arch rival, and that hurts. Could you imagine the Barnstormers being 1-11 against York?
Oh,
it wouldn't sit well.
No, it would not.
0-2. And the worst that season series has ever gone, by the way, was 2010. York won 16 out of 20. And some of those games were basically like being repeatedly struck by a mace. 0-2. The Downs check swing and a foul. He's able to spoil it and stay alive. It's 1 out, 1 on, and a long, scary inning. Somehow the Barnstormers have managed to stay in a tie throughout to this point, despite balls being hammered in every direction except between the stripes. Jerry Downs batting 0-2. A bit of a shift is on here, not a full one. And it is a fastball away. They get 1 ball and 2 strikes. Michael Martinez, the switch hitting third baseman, waits on deck. You look at these lineups, and High Point basically is fully healthy now, or just about. And the Barnstormers are so banged up, and yet it's a 1-1 ball game. And you never know how it's going to turn. Breaking ball, did he go? He did not. And I didn't think so either. 2-2.
I thought it might have caught the inside corner. That's what I was looking for.
When Moshe first came up like that, I thought that might be the indication.
Yeah.
I was expecting an argument out of Downs, but he was simply pointing on the appeal. 2-2. And that ball is hit well toward left center. It is playable. Dunston is there for the out. Downs retired, 2 gone. And Michael Martinez will step in.
Hey, it just seems like this inning, High Point is locked in on Aker. It's like they know what's coming.
Well, they're getting some swings in.
Oh, very much so.
Cole Aker is from that area down in North Carolina, UNC product. And he went to high school in Greensboro, was born in Memphis, Tennessee. And is somewhat surprised he's not a Rocker. Is a little surprised he came here. A lot of the North Carolina natives have ended up, as you might figure, Gastonia or High Point. Ball 1 to Martinez. Aker serves up, fouled back to the net. For 2 outs and a runner at first, this has been a long, eventful inning with a couple of balls screamed out of the park foul, 1 caught at the fence. The single was dropped on a diving try. As it turned out, the out on Downs was more routine than it looked off the bat. Here's a 1-1 to Michael Martinez. He'll look at a second strike, and Aker increased the velocity there. Everybody wondering how it is the Barnstormers got all these hard-throwing right-handers. Like, where did you come up with all of them? Because Aker has gotten his fastball right up around 95, and that last one might have topped it. We don't have the official reading yet. Foul ball back off of Peroni into the backstop. It is still 1-2. And he's hit 94.9. That is where his fastball has topped out officially. And most of the relievers throw harder than that. 1-2 to Michael Martinez. Morrison still lingering over at first. That is high. So we go to 2-2. And they haven't at all, with Martinez at the plate, signaled to speed his bat up. He's seen nothing but fastballs here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Martinez with a single and a ground out so far. The set. Aker will give him a breaking ball. It's grounded to short. Hoover down to an E, will serve it to Mercedes for the out. Cole Aker survives a couple of loud foul balls, gets through the inning with just 1 hit, no runs. We'll go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. The Barnstormers and the Rockers are even at 1. Another beautiful sunset, but nothing like last night. Last night was an all-time top 5 Clipper Magazine Stadium sunset. Tonight is nice, but it doesn't compare. 1-1 score, bottom of the 6th inning. And what a Clipper Magazine Stadium debut, not an Atlantic League debut for Scalaro. He was a reliever at Florida State. By and large, made 3 starts there in 120 appearances. 7-8, a 3.62 ERA, and he struck out. This is what we're seeing tonight. He struck out 211 batters in 166 and 2/3 innings in D1 baseball. So he has to have quite the out pitch, and we've seen it tonight. We've watched 8 Barnstormers march back to the dugout. Dunstan's been one of them. He has walked 1 and struck out 1. But Scalaro has been very impressive. Impressive indeed. The Barnstormers have been able to stay in this tie, though, and now trying to piece together a run out of the top of the order. Dunstan will look at a ball down low, 1-0.
Where is he as far as his pitch count, you said?
I'm going to look up the official. I had that as his 82nd.
Okay, so you got to be figuring he's nearing the end of his night.
I figure he gets through 6. To Dunstan, ground ball right side toward the hole. That is fished out nicely by Ledendorf. Throw to first, pulls Morrison off, and Dunstan is safe. I would imagine that will go down as a base hit because Ledendorf had to go so far into the hole, and it is. So, again, that was a nice play by Tyler Ledendorf because
watch how
that had base hit written all off over it. He just couldn't line the throw.
No.
He didn't have a chance to set with Dunstan running.
But how quickly he's able to get that out of the glove and make the throw.
It was a heck of a play by Ledendorf, but Morrison couldn't hold the bag. Here is Melvin Mercedes. He's 0 for 2. He came into tonight on a 10-game hitting streak. 3rd longest on the club this season. Throw goes to first, checking Dunstan.
You know, and I said it when we went to break, that double play that they turned on Torrance was a thing of beauty.
Mercedes gets spun around by an inside fastball, 1-0. Martinez plays the bunt. Morrison holds the runner. Middle infielders a double play depth. We haven't seen the bunt yet, but it's not to say the Barnstormers won't go there. 1-0 pitch, fades low, 2 balls and no strikes. This is also the 3rd time now that the Barnstormers have seen Scalaro, and because he has been mostly a reliever until he got to High Point, does he have the know-how to get through a lineup the 3rd time? 2 balls and nothing. Quick throw to first, and Dunston dives back in. Well, this is going to be the game within the game now. This is the go-ahead run in the 6th inning, carried by a guy who is a premium base stealer. He's staring at Scalaro. Scalaro will come to the plate, and again, he's very quick. A strike to the outside corner. It's 2-1. Torrance stole second base back in the 3rd inning on a 3rd strike to Dunston. Lancaster now 3 hits in the game, a bunt single, an infield base hit, and the Robinson homer. Scalaro will work 2-1. Mercedes a line drive to right field. He's got to get back quickly, and he does. Hit hard, but right at wheel. 1 out in the bottom of the 6th, and Andretti Cordero will step in at 0 for 2.
Boy, if that thing tails a little bit more towards the line and starts getting into that right field corner where it could ricochet who knows which way, would have been fun to see what Dunston would do running the bases.
Wheel didn't have to move much.
No.
Here is Cordero. He is grounded to short and struck out. Tied at 1. There goes Dunston. The pitch is outside. The throw down to second is in time to get him. And it didn't look like it was going to be. But it tailed right to the glove of Ladendorf covering.
Oh, wow.
Well, that throw was in a perfect spot.
You better believe it.
It looked like he was going to beat it for sure. And look at that. And it was close.
Yeah, I thought
Cordero
sure.
bats at 1-0.
I thought he was in, but
yeah, he's out the 2nd time tonight. The first one was because Mercedes got in the way of the throw. And now to Cordero, busted back ground ball. Look at that. 3rd baseman Michael Martinez cuts down Cordero. And an inning where it looked like the Barnstormers might do some damage to Scalaro. He gets out of it and gets out of it quickly. 1 hit, nobody left for the Barnstormers, and we'll head to the 7th, deadlocked at 1. Another look at fans of all ages enjoying a night here at Clipper Magazine Stadium, and probably ice cream. We can't see for sure, but that's my guess. Meanwhile, the Barnstormers bullpen, better known as Fast and Furious, and this is Fast and Furious 2. Tyler Sullendrop comes in, and he'll be serving it up 95 to 97. Sullendrop's had a good year. 2-2, 2.59 ERA. Leads the club in appearances. This is his 31st. He has 5 holds, 31 in the 3rd innings, 23 hits. If there's been a flaw, it has been the base on balls. He's walked 21. He has struck out 40. And very often he'll walk the leadoff batter. sometimes has a little bit of a hard time out of the gate, but then covers it up pretty well because he strikes out so many. Right-hander Floridian by background, Tyler Sullentrop, and he's facing Giovanni Alfonso to start off the 7th inning. Sullentrop fires high and inside for a ball. And again, it seems to take the Barnstormers relievers, and this goes back a few years, just a while to settle down and get locked in. Sullentrop has walked the first man he's faced 4 times. He has hit that first batter once. So, but .367 on base percentage for the first batter that he faces. Breaking ball is low, and it's 2-0 on Alfonso. It hasn't hurt the Barnstormers as much this year as it has in past years. Here's a 2-0. It's ball 3, and he hasn't been close on any of the 3. And then they settle down, get locked in. We see this out of Tunnel. We've seen it out of Johnson.
But boy, you don't want to paint yourself into the corner when you're in the latter stages of a ball game, and that's the beauty of a pitcher's duel. Then it really becomes a chess match.
And that is ball 4.
Well,
oh, Alfonso picks up the 4-pitch walk, starting off the inning. Aker worked 1, gave up 1 hit, and foul balls that may still be going, but he got out of it with just that 1 hit, and the runner never advanced beyond first.
I never heard of a tape measure foul ball, but that one that Wheel hit, I'd be curious to see how far that one went. I mean, it went up to the walkway.
And the catcher Galino steps in. Sullentrop serves him a breaking ball and doesn't get that call, so it's 5 in a row out of the zone. And a chance for High Point to strike here in the 7th inning of a tie ball game. Leadoff man is aboard on a walk. Alfonso has stolen 2, not taking off here. The fastball is up, and now it's 6 in a row, and here comes Mark Johnson. Time for a visit to get Sullentrop settled back down.
Yeah, this is key because with nobody out and already a runner at first base, the last thing you want to do is put that go-ahead run at second.
Well,
granted,
with nobody out, I don't know that the Barnstormers can afford to fall behind right now in a game because that lineup is just thinned out. You don't have as many options. You don't have as many ways to come back. It's not been easy for this ball club to begin with. You got to look at Quincy Lattimore and Giovanni Alfonso and Andretti Cordero. And Sullentrop, his last couple of appearances, has given up 2 hits. He's walked 4, struck out 5 in 3 scoreless innings, but that's a lot of runners. Yeah. And whatever Johnson said works at least for a pitch. Galino batting 2-1. Pitchers are supposed to have sort of checkpoints that they go through in the process of delivering, and Johnson may have picked up that Sullentrop was off on one. He squares the bunt, gets it down but foul. That's a 2nd strike. 2-2 with Alfonso retreating to first.
Well, we'll see if that mound visit was called at the right time.
Jay Gonzalez, the center fielder, waits on deck. Mark has a pretty good feel for when to go out, and Ross does too. Here's a 2-2. Got him. Swing and a miss. Put him away with a fastball. Peroni fires down to first. Alfonso's back. And this, we've seen this out of Sullentrop before. He just needs a few pitches to get settled in. And you wish that weren't the case.
Yeah. Well, that came up as 95 on the scoreboard. But I tell you what, that pitch just exploded out of his hand.
He's hit 95.3 officially this inning.
Okay.
Jay Gonzalez batting with 1 out, the runner at first base, and he has to leap out of the way. Fastball bearing in on him.
And didn't you say he hit 97?
He's hit 97. Goodson, I think, has hit 98. Tunnel's hit 98. That's what concerned me a little bit about last night. Tunnel just looked off right from the beginning last night. He gave up a couple runs, got allowed out. Fortunately, the lead was big enough, but he was only throwing around 94. There's a bunt try by Gonzalez and a foul ball. 1-1. And you're just used to seeing these high-octane pitches from basically the entire bullpen. I guess the concern is that if everybody's throwing the same speed, the opposing teams can get locked in. I always thought, a team one go around getting Granites and the next go around getting Schumann was a wonderful combination. A ball and a strike on Gonzalez. Alfonso takes off. The ball put in play, grounded to Mercedes, and they stay out of the double play. Alfonso moving ahead to second on the ground out, 4-3. Back to the top of the order in Ladendorf, who has an infield base hit and a walk, and 2 official at-bats.
Well, that's just what Sullentrop needed, but the only problem is High Point put the runner in motion, took away that double play. That would have been tailor-made.
They picked the right time to send the base runner.
So how did they come up with the phrase tailor-made? Do you know? I mean, I hear tailor-made, I think of golf. I don't think of baseball.
I think of suits, and I think that's where it comes from. It's stitched perfectly together.
Oh, okay.
Good fit. High pop up here. Peroni sheds the mask, circles around, and can't hang on to it. Ladendorf has life at 0-1, and you hope that does not cost.
And he had a lot more time to get under that one than the previous pop-up. But, boy, he was circling around. I don't know if he really was able to lock in on where it was. Yeah, it's plays like that sometimes just leave the door open. I hope that's not the case.
Ladendorf batting at a strike. Go ahead run in scoring position with 2 outs in the top half of the 7th inning. Sullentrop brings it home and misses outside. Sullentrop against Ladendorf. All name matchup. 2 of the longer last names in the Atlantic League. A ball and a strike. Peroni sets the target. Breaking ball misses. And Ladendorf gains an edge, 2-1. Aklinski waits on deck. It just does not get any easier in this High Point batting order. It's one of the best in the league. And the Barnstormers, when healthy, are right there with them. 2 balls, 1 strike. Sullentrop peering back at Alfonso. He looks again. The pitch, fastball. Wow, that had some zip on it. Ladendorf had to bail quickly. I can't wait to see what that one hit on the radar gun. Sullentrop on the previous fastball had gotten a 96.6. We don't have a reading on that one posted yet. Up 96.7. So he's up there. But Ladendorf bats 3-1. Sullentrop looks back to Alfonso, gives him a breaking ball and gets it across. So we have a full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. We saw Josue Herrera for York hit fastballs at 98 2 nights in a row in the 9th inning. So these guys can hit the fastballs. You still got to have a secondary pitch, and that fastball can't be straight. 3-2 on Ladendorf. A partial swing and a ball fought off down the right field line.
Pretty good location there by Sullentrop.
3 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Sullentrop certainly would prefer walking Ladendorf to giving up a base hit, but you want the out here. Here's a 3-2, and it's fouled back. Again, a lot of steam. Still 3 balls and 2 strikes. But Ladendorf's got power. Aklinski's got power. Morrison, Wheel, Downs. You got 5 good sluggers, and beyond that, you've got 4 guys hitting for a decent average. 277 and above coming into tonight. Well, this is a pretty healthy lineup. 3-2. Sullentrop again ready, and the fastball misses. Check swing. He did not go, and
nope.
Ladendorf picks up the second walk of the inning. Tyler almost had him very early in the count on the foul pop-up. In fact, the first pitch. And he didn't go there.
Not even close.
So here's Aklinski, who's 0 for 3. He is struck out looking, fouled to first, and fouled to Peroni. Boy, you really hope that the chance lost on the foul pop-up, not in an easy spot. I'm not going to say that was an easy catch, but you certainly hope that does not come back to haunt the Barnstormers in this 7th inning. Right now, they're just in a situation where they can't cover mistakes so easily with a big offensive surge. Ball 1 is outside, 1-0. I mean, it's not to say they can't score runs, but there's a lot of offense that's been lost in the last week.
Mm-hmm.
One ball, no strikes. Aklinski awaiting the next delivery from Sullentrop. Right-hander to the set. He'll bring home a breaking ball and get the corner. We're dead even at 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 outs, 2 on. Playing the top of the 7th inning here tonight. And another game that's not very quick, despite the score. Swung and a miss over the top of that. It was a pretty good changeup, I guess you would call it. Or whatever Sullentrop's version of a change is. There are many things that will look like a changeup. It just depends on how they come out of the hand. Scott Schumann is now throwing is a Fosh, which is an offshoot of a splitter. Sullentrop's 1-2 stays high. That was the fastball. Morrison's on deck, so you want to get Aklinski here somehow.
Yeah.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Game tied at 1 here in the 7th inning. Sullentrop working out of the stretch, glances back now to the plate, and it's fouled. Suspense builds in this 7th.
I tell you what, these high point batters throughout the game tonight have wasted numerous pitches and have kept their at-bats alive.
Well, I think it's why they're as good offensively as they are. This is a team that has scored 398 runs in 72 games. The Barnstormers have a little bit higher of a run scored per game average. Fouled back to the net. Still 2-2. But again, the scales have tipped in this series because Aklinski and Morrison are back for High Point, and the Barnstormers have now lost Shaver and Dugan over the course of the series, and Clark before it. So you look at the season offensive numbers. They're very, very similar between these two teams, but High Point right now is healthy. The Barnstormers are not. Lancaster winning last night by 2. This is a 1-1 game. And this at bat, I think, means a lot. 2-2, rifled foul back into the screen once again. Aklinski and Sullentrop are going at it.
Just can't seem to find the right pitch to end this inning.
Some of these names here this inning giving me practice for calling hockey if I ever would.
So you haven't done that?
I've never called hockey. I've actually done PA for a lot of different sports. I've done play-by-play only for baseball and once basketball. Swing and a miss, he got him. So a long inning for Sully, but he is able to get through it with the strikeout of Aklinski, who's not had much of a night here. No runs, no hits, no errors, 2 left. We're at the stretch and still tied at 1.
I love listening to it.
Home run number 1 tonight, Trayvon Robinson hit that. Home run number 2, Logan Morrison hit that. Both are ex-big leaguers. And the rest of the night has largely belonged to pitchers and the defenses. Devon Torrance with the nifty catch there, ramming into the fence. We get a look at the third baseman, Michael Martinez, with a play. And finally, a strikeout of Ben Aklinski after a long top half of the 7th inning, getting the Barnstormers out of trouble. And now Lancaster will face the second lefty run out there tonight by Jamie Keefe. And this will be Bryce Hensley picking up where Jonas Scalero is left off. And Scalero was magnificent for 6 innings. Hensley is from Asheville, North Carolina. He is a 26-year-old. 6'4", 215 pounds. He went to college at UNC Greensboro. And he'll be facing Robinson, and they'll keep Robinson batting from the right side of the plate, even if he has burned them once here tonight. Just 3 hits for the Barnstormers, only 4 for the Rockers over the course of this game. And again, it was just the quick exchange of solo home runs in the bottom of the 2nd and the top of the 3rd that have provided any run scoring at all here tonight. Up and away to Robinson for a ball, 1-0. Scalero gave up 3 hits and a run. He walked 3, struck out 8. And faced 3 batters over the minimum for 6 innings. That is a remarkable effort. Yeah, Robinson with a chopper to third, 1 hop, and a pretty easy play for Michael Martinez. Second time in a row, Robinson has gone down 5-3. Anderson Felice will step in. He has struck out twice so far tonight. Now, the Barnstormers season long have had a harder time with left-handed pitching. And it's definitely shown up again here tonight. As a team, Lancaster 242 against lefties and 278 against righties. It used to be more extreme than that. First pitch strike in on Felice. It is 0-1. But it really shows up in the home run difference. The home run by Robinson, only the 12th by the Barnstormers against left-handed pitching this year. Have a lob shot off an off-balance swing. Easy play for the center fielder Gonzalez. 2 up and 2 down. Here's Hoover. He has struck out twice. And the players no longer here had hit 8 of the 11 home runs that Lancaster had off of left-handed pitching. And mostly we're talking Clark and Shaver.
Makes it even more glaring.
Jake Hoover stands in. Hensley fires a strike. It is 0-1.
Well, you can only hope that any additions that Ross and the Barnstormers are able to make are going to be a welcome relief.
Well, I think the Barnstormers have to get a bat in here for one thing. up the middle, but right there, the second baseman Ladendorf, backhanded pick. He will throw on to get Hoover. 1, 2, 3. The Barnstormers go on just 6 pitches in the lower half of the 7th inning. Pitching continues to dominate. We'll go to the 8th in a 1-1 tie. Still tied as we go to the 8th inning, and the Barnstormers go to their 4th pitcher of the night. Both Cole Aker and Tyler Sullentrop have allowed the first batter face to reach base tonight. Now Chase Johnson will try and get the Barnstormers still tied to the bottom of the 8th. Those numbers are deceiving as far as the quality of work that Chase has given to this ball club, especially the 2-6 record. His last decision was a win. Chase picked that up against the Genomes back on Sunday. He threw a perfect inning, striking out 2. And he's got the honor of facing Logan Morrison, then Xander Wheel, and Jerry Downs.
Yeah, the thing I remember about Johnson, this is earlier when we first started our broadcast, was that he came in as a spot start on like 3 days rest.
Yeah, I think it was 2.
Oh,
yeah.
Even more so then. And gave them, I think, 2 or 3 innings, which is huge when you're talking about an arm-weary staff at the time and a real gutsy outing.
I mean, it's funny to think that a month ago, maybe a little bit longer, we were worried about the available pitching. And it wasn't that the Barnstormers were long on available bodies. They had about 10 even at that point. But now pitching is abundant. This is a pitching-rich team. Breaking ball for a strike, it's 0-1. And generally, pitching-rich and Barnstormers baseball have not always gone hand in hand. But this team is. It's now a question of, can they score enough runs? 1 strike to Logan Morrison. A total shift is on here. Johnson comes back, and it's grounded foul up the first base line and past the coach's box. We don't see Quincy Lattimore out there anymore.
Well, he is just an imposing figure at the plate.
He's a big guy.
I mean, even the foul balls are loud.
0-2 from Johnson to Morrison. And this ball is hit a far distance the other way. Cruising back is Torrance. He's got room out there, though. And he makes the catch for out number 1. That's a long out to the opposite field here in Lancaster. 1 man down, and Xander Wheel will come to the plate 0 for 3 with the ball hit that took Torrance back into the fence in the 6th inning. Johnson becomes the first pitcher tonight for the Barnstormers to retire the first man he faces. Not even Dela Cruz did it. He walked the leadoff guy in the 1st inning.
Yeah.
1 out. The batter is Wheel, and boy, you've got to be careful here. This guy's got some wallop. Popped up first base side. Cordero and Peroni start after it, but that's back into the seats. 1 strike on Wheel. Again, one of the Atlantic League All-Stars here at midseason, and very deservedly so. He's been murder on Lancaster. Coming into tonight, 8 out of 17 with 3 homers and 10 runs batted in. 0 for 3 in this game, but not without scaring us. 0-1. Johnson will bring it home. That's a 2nd strike. Quality pitch. He's ahead of Wheel at 0-2. Some of the others, Elmer Reyes and Carlos Franco from York. Again, deserving. We voted for them. Southern Maryland had 3. Low and outside for a ball, 1-2.
So who does the voting?
It was the 10 managers in the Atlantic League.
Okay.
Did the voting. Andres Burseño was one of Southern Maryland's. David Harris got one of the nods. And Mackenzie Mills, their lefty starter, who's leading in the pitcher of the year race. 1-2. Fastball is low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out here in the 8th inning. The Barnstormers will have Lair, Peroni, and Torrance in the bottom of the frame. Again, Lancaster looking to scratch and claw a run together to break this 1-1 tie. And High Point's been trying to slug its way to a 2nd run, and they've come close. Here's a 2-2. Oh, he got him on a nasty breaking ball. Wow. Wheel goes down on strikes for the 2nd time tonight, and the Barnstormers staff is fan 9. There's nothing unusual about that.
You know, and you take away the 9th inning last night, and Lancaster's bullpen pitched really well. They've pitched well here tonight, put themselves in some situations, but they've been able to work through it. And Johnson's last pitch, that was just nasty.
Well, they're working on a 3rd scoreless inning tonight, and it had been 18 in a row until the 2-run shot by Wheel off tunnel in the 9th inning last night. Ground ball toward the middle and through. A base hit for Downs against the shift. And they have a 2-out runner aboard for Michael Martinez. That is hit number 5. Barnstormers were charged with an error along the way, and I wonder if it was for that dropped foul pop-up against Ledendorf back in the 7th inning. I didn't see that they had posted an error there, so I'm going to double check to see that's where it was. Martinez stands in with 2 outs. The go-ahead run on at first, not with a lot of speed. First pitch is offered low, and it's ball 1. Giovanni Alfonso waits on deck.
That's the only thing I can think of looking back at my score sheet.
And it is.
Yeah.
Bounced, and that one gets away. So a wild pitch now sends down to 2nd, and a single for Martinez could break the deadlock. 2 balls and no strikes. Well, 2 outs came pretty easily for Johnson against Morrison and Wheel. And now it looks like we're going to give it pinch runner. And Ross Peoples has to be sitting down there going, what is this move? And it's 2-way player Joe Johnson who is going to run for Downs. Ross could only dream about making a move like this in the late innings. It's like, what is it? You can substitute? I didn't know you could do that, because he doesn't have that option ever. 2 balls and no strikes. And Martinez off the outside corner, 3-0. And this is where, especially when DeSabatino and Laporte are ready to go, but even now, I think you have to try and make a trade. The question is, who wants a pitcher to give up an outfielder at this stage? I don't know that anybody does.
Right.
But it's almost essential for this team at this point in time. Here's the 3-0. Martinez will draw the walk, and all of a sudden you've got issues here in the 8th inning. Barnstormers relief staff has given up 2 hits and 3 walks now in 2 2/3 innings. First and second with 2 gone. Alfonso has walked twice and struck out once. And we're going to have a mound visit from Mark Johnson. It's Lancaster's second. He used one with Sullentrop last inning. Dela Cruz never needed a visit to the mound in his 5 innings of work. A very, very strong outing for Oscar De La Cruz here tonight. Shame he won't come out of this with a win, but I could say the same thing, just to be fair and unbiased, about Jonas Scalaro.
True.
And
True.
maybe even more so.
Yeah. We both really pitched solid games, even after a little bit of a rough start at the beginning. You know, throwing a lot of pitches, deep counts. But once they settled in, both pitchers really did pitch really well here tonight.
Giovanni Alfonso, who has been tough over the years against the Barnstormers, stands in this series. He's overall 1 for 5. Johnson at second, Martinez at first with 2 outs. Chase Johnson to the plate, and he throws a dart for a strike at his 0-1.
Got to find that out pitch to get out of this inning.
Torrance is awfully shallow out and left. He wants the chance to throw out Johnson at the plate. Breaking ball and strike 2. Alfonso winces. Chase Johnson has him in the hole. No balls and 2 strikes. 2 on, 2 out. Here in the top half of the 8th inning. High Point has already stranded 8 base runners tonight. The Barnstormers only 2. 0-2. Johnson peering in, getting the signals from Anthony Peroni. And the pitch, it's low. Alfonso staying away from it. Ball 1, 2 strikes.
I like the pitch selection.
Barnstormers have thrown the ball 159 times tonight to just 96 for High Point. That's a major gap in a 1-1 game. 1-2. Alfonso awaits. The runners lead. Johnson will bring it home. That is swung on and missed. The throw's going to have to go to first as Peroni fishes it out of the dirt. And Chase Johnson strikes out the 10th High Point batter tonight. They leave 2 more. It's 10 for the ball game, and now we go to the bottom of the 8th. Lair, Peroni, and Torrance. The Barnstormers will try to take the lead. And the kids enjoying themselves here tonight. Were you able to go to a ballpark a lot as a kid?
Well, you know, living in Lancaster, we had the Reading Phillies, short drive, of course, to Baltimore, get down to Philly, Veterans Stadium. Yeah. So, yeah, and playing Little League, at the end of the season, we'd go to Reading as a team. It was kind of like the end of season treat. And it was great because you had a chance to see potential, you know, major league players, but there's nothing like, you know, walking into that stadium, and it's just an amazing feeling.
Yeah, grew up in Rochester, New York, which back in the 60s and 70s was the mecca of minor league baseball. It was the Hershey Bears of minor league baseball, the premium franchise. And I grew up in the old ballpark, Silver Stadium, and I used to go every chance I could. They had a program called the Knothole Gang for kids, and I think you paid a dime to get in or something like that, or maybe it was a dime just to be in the program. And it was such a big deal. Red Wing baseball was such a big deal that they actually closed schools early on opening day, and kids could go to the game. Yeah, it was tremendous, and you could jump on the city bus. You never felt scared. To Lair swinging a ball laced foul down the left side, 2 strikes to him, but you never felt intimidated or scared. You just hopped on a bus. You were on it with your buddies, or in my case, some of the time my older brother and I would go. And we just sit and enjoy baseball. There were none of the external stuff there is here now. Ground ball, left side, base hit. Great piece of hitting for Lair. He's on for the 3rd time tonight. And the Barnstormers have the lead run aboard here in the 8th inning.
Well, it kind of helped Martinez, of course, shaded toward the line, but really nice at bat by Lair. Just goes with the pitch, slaps it through the opening.
Somewhat of a seeing eye base hit, but very nicely placed by Lair. Peroni steps in. He's 0 for 2 on the night. And when you want to talk about the Barnstormers and left-handed pitching and having difficulties, Peroni is only 1 for 28 this season off of lefties. So he could be bunting here. No, he's swinging away. It is 0-1.
I thought that would have been an opportunity to try and put down a bunt.
Well, the reason that you don't in this situation is because on deck is Torrance, and he's 1 for 18 against lefties coming into tonight. Now 2 for 20 with the bunt single. And now Peroni will square around. Lair takes off. The bunt is popped up foul and fortunately untouched, or that would have been another double play tonight. Peroni batting 0-2. And that's the reason. And then you've got the left-on-left matchup with Dunston. The Barnstormers, they're so boxed in by not being able to make any moves.
Yeah.
And I think this is a circumstance where if you had Tyler Hill available, you might want to go to him. It gives the Barnstormers another right-handed bat, but they need more. To Peroni, up and away on the fastball from Bryce Hensley, who's now thrown as many pitches in the 8th as he did in the entire 7th inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count on Peroni. And Tyler Hill is not a combination of Dugan, Schaefer, and Clark in one body. Down the right field line, but foul. And it's still 1-2 on Anthony Peroni. That guy's in the Hall of Fame. Whatever a combination of Schaefer, Clark, and Dugan would be. Talk a switch hitter with great power, great size, speed. I can imagine putting all those tools together. Throw goes to first. They're keeping Lair honest, and you have to. Trace is 5 for 5 stealing bases. He can be sneaky quick. He's the go-ahead run. Obviously, the Barnstormers want him in scoring position.
Boy, how nice would it be for them to put something together here with the bottom part of the lineup.
And it's strike 3 on the inside corner. Peroni goes down looking for the 2nd time tonight. 9 strikeouts now for High Point pitching, and here's Torrance. He has bunted his way on, and he has hit into a double play.
I don't think either team is really too much enamored with Derek Motion in some of his calls here tonight.
Lair still at first. The Barnstormers could not advance him. Torrance will give it a shot. Morrison holds the runner. Lair takes off. The pitch is low. The throw is in center field. Lair can't get the third. Stolen base for Lair. He's now 6 for 6, and the Barnstormers found a way to get the runner into scoring position. 1-0 the count on Devon Torrance. Lair got up but saw that Gonzalez had that backed up pretty well. Well, 2 shots at a go-ahead single. That's the second successful steal for the Barnstormers tonight. Hensley goes to work on Torrance, and he takes a strike. That was off speed. 1-1. If I remember correctly, Devon's one hit from the right side of the plate came at an absolutely crucial moment in a 10th inning.
Well, let's have a repeat, except only in the 8th inning.
He didn't drive in the run, but he set it up. Ball 2 outside to him. 2 balls, 1 strike. The count to Torrance.
Well, no time like the present to snap out of that funk against a left-handed pitcher.
Hensley comes set. Torrance swings and foul tips that. It's 2-2. Channel the message. The baseball is a quarterback. The baseball is a quarterback. To the former collegiate football player. And a very good one. You don't go to Ohio State and not be able to play the game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lair leads off second. Dunston waits on deck. To Torrance, a swing and a miss at the fastball. He's gone on strikes. That is now 10 strikeouts for the High Point staff. It's up to Dunston. He's 1 for 2. An infield single and a walk. He has also struck out tonight. But here's the deal. We talked about the lowly stats for the last 2 against lefties. But Dunston goes against the book. He's hitting .382 against lefties. And you think Frank Viola hasn't read stat sheets?
Oh, yeah. He knew what was coming up.
No, he's going out. They'll talk it over. Mercedes, the switch hitter on deck, and there really isn't much of an edge one way or the other with Mel. Little bit better from the left side of the plate, but not tremendously so. 2 outs. The go-ahead run in scoring position for the Barnstormers, and well, you'd love to get it home because in the top of the 9th, you'd have Galino and Gonzalez, the 8 and 9 hitters, to start it off. Not that there's any really weak spot in the batting order for this High Point ball club, but you'd rather be facing them in a crucial situation than Klinsky, Morrison, and Wheel. Mm-hmm. Frank Viola had some good-natured words for Russ Peoples as he was walking back through. We saw the wrath of Frank last night, but he's generally a very jovial guy. But Dunston stands in, Lair at second, and he'll be stared back by Bryce Hensley.
Frank Viola was one that was a pretty dominant pitcher in his time in the major leagues. Boy, his years at Minnesota were just
a Cy Young winning lefty.
Impressive.
To Dunston, first pitch, a strike on the outside corner. Hensley has been impressive here tonight. Coming in 1-2 with a 2.5 ERA. He's had a good season. And he's the first reliever used by the Rockers tonight. The Barnstormers have already been through 3, but there are a lot more where those came from. To Dunston, check swing and a second strike. Hensley's just been spot on with 2 pitches here. And he has a chance to strike out the side after the leadoff single by Lair.
But as you mentioned, Dunston's a guy that isn't alarmed about being in the hole. 0-2.
2 strikes coming, and misses outside. He tried to widen the zone there. He was trying to beat Glavin on that pitch.
I'll just be glad he didn't have the Glavin strike zone.
Lair off second, 1-2. Dunston starts to turn on it.
No, he didn't.
And he strikes out, says Derek Moshe. And Dunston won't be terribly pleased with that. And he stands there. with this. Are you kidding me? Look on his face.
His body turned, but I didn't see the bat come around.
So Ross Peoples will inquire about that. It's 1 hit and 1 left. We'll go to the 9th inning, tied at 1. Tight, low-scoring game. Pitching has dominated here tonight. We've seen a total of 20 strikeouts and merely 9 hits. And out of those 9, there have been 2 solo home runs and 7 singles that ended up being meaningless. The home runs responsible for the 2 runs we've seen in the game. And now we get a look at West Tunnel, who has come on in relief for the Barnstormers. Tunnel gave up the 2-run home run to Wheel last night. Won't have to face him here in the top of the 9th inning. West has been the Barnstormers' closer, and there's no save opportunity available any longer for the home pitcher in a 1-1 game going into the 9th inning. Now, this is Tunnel's 22nd appearance. The numbers you saw combine what he did here with his short stint for Monclova in the Mexican League. But as a Barnstormer, he's 1-0 with a 3.13 ERA, just 13 hits in 23 innings. But another guy, I talked about this earlier, Eric, but another guy who has a hard time getting started. The numbers of walks and hit batters to the first man he faces is, well, certainly higher than you'd want. Breaking ball to Galeno here to start him off with a called strike.
Does it surprise you that he's pitching, in the fact that he pitched last night when you got Graham and Schumann?
Well, Graham and Schumann are pitching, but I don't know they're still 100%, and Ross isn't stretching it there. Ball is outside. It is 1-1, and you might see one or the other of those guys if we go to extra innings. Mercedes, Cordero, and Robinson will try to prevent that. Tunnel deals his breaking ball again, gets it across. Galeno bats at 1-2. Chase Johnson worked the 8th, got into some 2-out trouble, took care of it with the strikeout of Giovanni Alfonso. Here's the wind, the 1-2, got it. Strike 3 call.
Tell you what, for a guy that likes to throw the gas, his breaking balls here so far, really good movement, spot on location.
Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks knew what they were doing because West was an infielder largely at Baylor, and they signed him as a pitcher, and he had a great season as a closer in the Diamondback system in 2019, but the pandemic changed everything. Guys sat out a year, and he just was not as effective last year. Ended up going to Mexico to start this year and did not perform well there, but you see what he has. There's a fastball for a strike on Jay Gonzalez. It is 0-1. Just got word that Bubby Rossman, who's played for York, is making his major league debut for the Phillies tonight. Fly ball, shallow left. Back goes Hoover. He signals for it and makes the catch Torrance was too far back. Hoover knew it, and he took charge right away. Well, you want to talk about somebody who's a high-energy, active, expressive guy on the field, Jake Hoover. And you'll see him chirp. He doesn't necessarily make a ton of friends in opposing dugouts, but you like having him on your side. And here's Ladendorf, who has reached base 3 times in the game, an infield single and a couple of walks. Tunnel will go to work. Breaking ball misses. First time he has, and it's 1-0, at least with the breaking ball. Pete and I were impressed at how tightly Tunnel is able to get all that hair up underneath the cap. Check swing, he didn't go, and it's 2 balls, no strikes.
Yeah.
And somewhere out in center field, Sean Dunston is going, and I did?
I tell you what, you want to end this inning and try and win it in the 9th. You don't want to face a Klinsky, Morrison, and Wheel.
Here's a 2-0. Fastball hit in the air, right center field. Dunston has it gauged the entire time. He will make the catch. Tunnel comes in and shuts the door on the Rockers in the top half of the 9th inning. And it will be Mercedes, Cordero, and Robinson with a chance to walk off in a 1-1 game. One ball game on an exchange of home runs early, and the pitching otherwise has fairly well dominated. I would say more so the High Point staff. The Barnstormers staff has had to dodge out of a lot of innings, but saying that, there haven't been huge threats. We talked about how the Rockers have left 10 runners on base, but they had second and third in the second inning. That was really the biggest threat there was. But it was first and second with 2 outs in the 7th, first and second with 2 outs in the 8th. And a lot of guys stranded at first. The Barnstormers have left only 3 guys on. They haven't had really a threat.
No.
Torrance got to third base with 1 out in the 3rd inning. And last inning, Lair was at second with 1 out. But Lancaster has never had 2 guys on base at the same time in this game. And only the Robinson homer has stood between the High Point lefties and a shutout. Now, here's the good news. Once Hensley is done tonight, the Barnstormers do not see another left-hander in this series. We've seen the 2 the Rockers have, so unless they run out and sign somebody overnight. There's a first pitch strike to Melvin. It's 0-1. Mercedes 0 for 3. Hit the ball hard the last time up, but lined straight at Wheel in right field. Hensley goes to work on him, and the 0-1 is knocked foul down the right side. Very quickly, 2 strikes in the count on Mercedes with Cordero on deck.
How about they make it a walk-off Wednesday? How's that sound?
A walk-off wet nose Wednesday. What a concept. 0-2 to Mercedes. Hensley has retired 6 of 7. Ooh. Not there. Ball 1 is outside.
Got to get this first guy on. Melvin's got to find a way.
You just want to put the pressure on the High Point Rockers, get the winning run on base. 1-2 to Mercedes. He'll take ball 2. Again, the difference in the number of pitches thrown tonight has been just startling. The Barnstormers have seen now 117 pitches. They've thrown 169.
Well, and that goes back to, High Point fouling off numerous pitches, extending the at-bats. Now, thing is, they've also had a ton of base runners and left runners in scoring position where Lancaster hasn't had that opportunity.
Here's a 2-2 and just low. Mercedes has worked the count to full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Melvin trying to get on. From the left side of the plate, he might try to knock one out. Right-handed, it's far less likely for him in this ballpark especially. 3-2, ground ball down the line at third, and that is fair, says the third base umpire Caldwell, and Mercedes will race for second. He's not slowing down, but that ball, I think, is in the ivy. Mercedes is going to come around, but that's a ground rule double. Well, but anyhow, the Barnstormers have the winning run in scoring position.
Well, and you know what? Until you get the sign, you keep going. But yeah, that got hung up in the ivy. Or did it?
Down to the chairs, rolling, 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 and into the greenery. Mercedes with 2 bases on the ground rule double. His hitting streak advances to 11. But more importantly, the Barnstormers now can win it on outs. Cordero the batter, and you have to think he's going to swing away. You're not going to have Andretti bunt here. 0 for 3 tonight against the lefties. And, well, he's not going to get the chance to do anything. They're going to walk him, which makes complete sense. It'll be up to Robinson, who delivered the go-ahead hit last night in the 7th inning.
Well, even going back to that double by Mercedes, and that's even with Martinez guarding the line, he couldn't have placed that ball any better.
I was actually a little bit surprised when Caldwell signaled fair, but it was right over the back.
Yep.
And Caldwell knew he had to dance out of the way of it and then signal a fair ball. Cordero aboard on the intentional walk. Now, does Robinson bunt? And I don't think you can. Felice is on deck. He has struggled. He's still batting left on left. Mercedes leads off second, and Hensley will check him. Dramatic moments in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Barnstormers with what ultimately is their biggest threat of the ball game. And it comes with a chance to walk off. A Robinson base hit will do it in all likelihood. The outfielders are playing up here. Robinson fouls away the first Hensley pitch. It is 0-1. Because they want to be able to make a throw to the plate on a one-hop base hit. They don't want to be that far back, but it does open up the gaps a little bit more. 1 strike the count to Robinson, and at the very minimum, he's got to get Mercedes to third without hitting into a double play. He'll hold on the swing. Ball 1 is low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Trayvon with the homer back in the 2nd. Since then, he has grounded twice to the third baseman Martinez.
Yeah. Be disciplined up there. Don't be chasing a pitch.
Here's a 1-1. Popped up foul. That will be out of play. Hensley has struck out 3 and now walked 1 on the intentional free pass. Very well pitched on both sides here tonight. Trayvon Robinson batting 1 and 2. Mercedes at second. Cordero the runner at first. Hensley to the plate, and it's bounced back toward the mound and flagged by Hensley out at second and out at first. That's exactly what the Rockers wanted, and now Anderson Felice has to deliver with the winning run at third and 2 outs. The Barnstormers ground into a double play for the 2nd time, and overall the 3rd double play turned by the Rockers. Boy, what a nice stop by Hensley, and They go 1 to 4 to 3 on that double play, and it's up to Felice with 2 outs. The Barnstormers will take anything here. Wild pitch, pass ball, error, balk, you name it, to get this run across. Otherwise, we go to the 10th inning, and Ladendorf at second base. Felice will take a strike. It is 0-1, and this is how limited the Barnstormers are. Anderson Felice has had some success batting left on left, but he's a switch hitter his whole life. And he's just not been able to swing the bat from the right side.
All it takes is one. Just one.
Here's the 0-1. Looper, but foul. 0-2. When that came off the bat, I didn't quite pick up the trajectory.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a flare over Martinez's head. I don't know if you took notice, but there's fireworks being set off out in the distance beyond center field. How about some fireworks right off the bat of Felice?
Each club now with 5 hits, 1 error, 1 run on the board. Mercedes at third with 2 outs, 0-2 to Felice, and he'll stay alive.
Wow, had to fight that one off.
He's just not getting many good swings in here, and that concerns me. That's like the same trajectory as the 4th of July fireworks from Long's Park. I wonder if they had some leftovers.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that's going on that...
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
0-2. Felice pops it up. That will carry to the crowd. So he's fighting to keep this inning going. Jake Hoover, the shortstop, is on deck. This is the kind of game you knew that the Barnstormers were going to play, I think, a lot of over the next couple of weeks until they can reset this offense. Here's the 0-2. Felice goes after it and he misses. Hensley pitches out of the inning. Mercedes is left parked at third and will go to extra frames against the High Point Rockers in a 1-1 tie. Moonrise. We have that coming up one way and fireworks being shot off another. And again, it's July the 13th on a Wednesday. So unless there's a special neighborhood or a town celebration somewhere, I can't figure what's going on. Here's Donald Goodson pitching the top of the 10th for the Barnstormers, and the objective here is quite simple: strikeouts. With that lead run at second base, Goodson, the 5th hard-throwing right-hander brought into this game out of the bullpen by manager Ross Peoples, and the first 4 have done the job with the Barnstormers offense. And this, of course, was the fear. They lost Clark, and the offense still produced a bunch of runs against Wild Health over the weekend. There were 33 runs in that 3-game series. Then they lost Shaver, and still the ball club came out last night and scored 8 runs on 11 hits. The bats were still booming. But now you take Dugan out of there also, and you suddenly put so much pressure on everybody else. and get guys out of their comfort slots in the batting order. You see it, Cordero has been batting fourth and getting hits virtually every game. Tonight, 0 for 3 because you move them up to 3. It's funny. It's just like juggling pitchers from the 8th inning to the 7th inning. You're like, what's the difference? But in their minds, there is. And they don't necessarily perform as well. So the courtesy runner's at second. And here's the first pitch to Ben Aklinski, high and outside for a ball, 1-0. Aklinski 0 for 4 tonight. Well, the first thing that Goodson has to do is get the first out without Ladendorf going to third. Swing and a miss. It's 1-1. Goodson with that great fastball changeup combination. When he's on, he's deadly. But you don't see it every time out. Aklinski, the batter, you get him, you probably walk Morrison. The offering, swing and a miss. And again, that was the off-speed delivery. Goodson hides it very well, and it moves quite a bit.
Yeah, I'll say.
1-2.
Watch this thing just dive right out of the zone.
Whew. When Ross first signed Goodson before last year, he referred to it as a Bugs Bunny changeup. 1-2. Goodson comes set, and Aklinski down and away. Went back to it a third time. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lancaster will have Felice at second, Hoover, Lair, and Peroni stepping in. The Rockers have left 10, and the Barnstormers along the way tonight just 4, so they're in starkly different spots in the batting order. 2-2, and Aklinski, he got him. He went back to it a 4th time in a row, and that is a huge strikeout. 1 away. Logan Morrison is the scheduled batter.
I don't know why he's carrying his bat to the plate, and he's just going to have to throw it back to the dugout.
One would believe that that will be true. Ladendorf still at second with 1 out. Morrison the batter. And look at this.
Wow.
They're not signaling for the free pass. And that may be a tip of the cap to Xander Wheel, the on-deck batter. Goodson to the plate. That's inside, and the pass ball will send the runner to third. And I've certainly got to believe that one goes down as a pass ball.
Yeah.
So now you lose what you picked up with the strikeout. Fastball was inside, but belt high should have been managed.
Well, now here again, another situation where you'd love to get a strikeout, prevent Morrison from putting the ball in play.
That is the second pass ball charged to Peroni tonight. Here's a 1-0, and now ball 2 is inside to Morrison. 2 balls and nothing. Now, you really lost so much with that pass ball. If Ladendorf scores, it'd be an unearned run anyway. 2-0 pitch is ball 3 down low, so it's not an intentional walk, but could be working like one. Morrison batting 3 balls and no strikes with Wheel on deck.
An unintentional, intentional walk.
And now they're going to give him the 4th one, but they would be in much better shape if they had done that to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah.
1st and 3rd, and the batter will be Wheel, who has struck out twice, fly to the fence and left, and grounded into a force out. 1 out, runners at the corners. And again, the Barnstormers will have the runner at second base to start off the bottom of this 10th inning. But Goodson's got to find his way out of the top of this inning first. There's a right-hander throwing in the bullpen for High Point. It looks like Hensley is done, but he turned in 3 strong innings. Strike to the inside corner on Wheel. Nothing in 1 from Goodson.
And another pitch that a High Point batter does not agree with the call.
to the plate. There's the change. Don's got it working tonight. 0-2, and that is Quincy Lattimore in the on-deck circle. Joe Johnson had run for Jerry Downs back in the 8th inning. It's a wheel, no balls, 2 strikes. Morrison takes off. The ball is popped up into foul territory, coming back and out of play.
Well, if you can't get the strikeout, a pop out was the next best thing.
Well, even better would be a ground ball double play.
Well, yeah, that's right. With 1 out, sure. I like the sound of that better.
Wheel bats at 0-2. Does Goodson go back to that change? Again, the runner takes off, and he will take second base on ball 1 inside. So give Morrison the steal, and there you lose the shot at the double play. And that is where, again, the pass ball comes into play.
Yep.
That was costly, because I doubt they double steal in that situation. 1-2. Ooh. Ball 2, missing the inside corner on the off-speed pitch.
Ooh.
And now it's the Barnstormers' turn to grouse.
Wheels like, no, that was inside.
I think so, too. But believe me, both teams feel they have been gypped on several occasions in this series. And as I said, once that gets into your head, real or not, it's real. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Goodson will deliver, and this ball is lifted to center. It's likely to make it 3-2. Dunston with the catch. Tagging it on the way home is Ladendorf. He will score, and they've got Morrison in a rundown. He'll be tagged out, so it'll just be 1 run. But they made sure they got Ladendorf home, and there is your unearned run. Sacrifice fly off the bat of Xander Wheel. He drives in his 61st run of the season. Now the Barnstormers have to match it. They'll have Felice halfway home. Well, the Barnstormers need 1 in the bottom of the 10th inning. The good news is they get the free start with Anderson Felice at second. All they have to do is match what the Rockers did in the top of the inning in order to extend the ball game. Right-hander Austin Glorious has come on for the High Point Rockers. He was a closer in the Can-Am Association for Ottawa back in 2019. He had 11 saves, but in his Atlantic League history, he's largely been a starting pitcher. Last year, 5-4 between Southern Maryland and Gastonia. He is 3-5 for High Point this year, 64 hits, 53 1/3 innings. He's walked 33, and he has struck out 35. Quite an effort for Bryce Hensley, 3 innings. He gave up a couple of base hits. He walked 1, but it was intentional, and struck out 4. So he's in line for the win. The Barnstormers need to get Anderson Felice home. And again, Lancaster cannot pinch run or pinch hit unless they use somebody off the pitching staff.
Yeah.
That is the bind this ball club is in.
Those stinking left-handers, man, they just have their problems with them. So hopefully that changes here in the 10th.
And the best hitter against lefties has been Clark.
Oh.
So it just, there are so many issues facing this ball club, and yet through all of that, they've got the opportunity to win this tonight because the pitching has done such a great job. Felice leads off second. Everybody expecting Hoover to bunt. He squares, and the ball is over his head, and that will send Felice to third. And I'm not so sure there was an intent there because I have seen Hoover chirping with the Rockers a couple of times tonight, and they're going to say that grazed him, and they're going to send him to first base.
Wow.
Jake Hoover becomes now the winning run at first. The batter is Trace Lair. The tying run is at, well, it has to go back to second base. So actually the Barnstormers may have lost on that deal. When you stop to think about it, the wild pitch has Felice at third, but because it was ruled to have hit Hoover, there are runners at first and second. That's almost the same as an intentional walk right there.
Yep.
Lair stands in. He has walked twice and singled through the left side. They will check Felice with a throw.
That fan sticking his left hand up there, giving Glorious.
I mean, that was a scary first pitch to Hoover.
It was, and I shouldn't laugh because it's.
Lair squares around. The pitch is bounced. Felice a long way off second, but he could afford to be because nobody was covering. Glorious has missed badly with two, and he had to rely on Galino there. Now, he served up two pitches where he very easily could have allowed the tying run to score without the Barnstormers doing anything. Lair bats 1-0. Glorious misses badly high. It's 2 balls and no strikes, and he hasn't been close on 3 pitches. Lair now looking to be selective. It's 2-1 High Point. They got the 10th inning run home. When you're the visiting team, that's an important thing to do.
Yep.
The Barnstormers have given up that run now 8 times in 14 extra innings this year. They have scored it 5 out of 13. Lancaster 3-5 in extra inning games. We've played as many as 4 extra innings in a contest. And that was in the second game of a doubleheader. Long night at Staten Island about a month and a half ago now. Here's the 2-0. Lair shortens the bunt. He takes ball 3. That leaks through the catcher Galino. Felice will try to go to third, and he'll make it ahead of a weak throw. Hoover to second. Lair batting at 3-0, and now Lancaster can win this on a base hit.
Well, a great read by Felice. Once he saw that the catcher Galino had problems locating the ball, he took off. And again, you mentioned this is a guy that is dealing with a leg injury, foot injury?
Side. Oblique is what he had. And I think that's why he's still just batting left-handed. So now Trace Lair can win it with a base hit. The Rockers play for the win. They're going to bring the infielders in here. Lair sees a strike, the first one delivered by Galino, or rather Glorious, in 5 pitches. It is 3-1. The tying run 90 feet away, the winning run in scoring position. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 10th inning. 3-1 offering. Lair fouls it back and will go to 3-2.
Well, and their outfield is shallow. It's going to take a gapper, I think, for Hoover to score. If it's right at an outfielder, I think Ross is going to play it safe and only keep 1 base at a time. But, boy, I'd love to see Lair find a gap and win this thing.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch, and he went after ball 4. A key strikeout for Glorious. 1 out, and it will bring on Peroni. 13th strikeout of a Barnstormers hitter tonight. Oh, you got a little overly aggressive there. Glorious may have been expecting it. And now it is Peroni, who is 0 for 3 with a couple of called third strikes. Torrance on deck, and again, no moves available to manager Ross Peoples. The infield will remain in to Peroni. Inside and low, and the stop is made by Galino.
I think if you're Lancaster, I wait till he even throws a strike. He's been erratic.
1-0. Peroni will foul that back.
Geez, that went off both of them.
It ricochets, and we have a count of 1-1. Well, the Barnstormers had this inning set up so beautifully with a hit batter and the wild pitch, but they still need a base hit now to win it and a respectable fly ball to tie it. I've got to think Felice is coming on contact, and you could end up with an out at the plate here. 1 strike. Peroni, ground ball, base hit. So he has tied the game. Hoover will stop at third again with Aklinski so close to the plate. Anthony Peroni comes through and delivers the tying run. Now Devon Torrance with an opportunity to win it for the Barnstormers. Felice is home. Clutch hit for Peroni. His 10th ribby of the year. And they pay the price with the drawn-in infield.
A big time at bat by Peroni. And now a chance for Torrance to win it.
Torrance has a bunt single tonight. Don't discount that possibility. And they are not. The corners are up, Martinez and Morrison. Torrance is 1 out of 3 with that bunt single. Winning run over at third. It's 2-2 here in the bottom of the 10th inning. First pitch fastball for a strike on Devon. It's 0-1. Dunston is on deck.
That looked a little low to me.
And you and Devon agree. One strike to Torrance. Hoover up the line from third. There's a swing and a foul up to the skyboxes. It is 0-2 on Torrance. Now, if you had somebody with better speed and healthier legs right now than Anthony Peroni over at first base, you'd be inclined to send him and maybe sneak Hoover home from third. No balls, 2 strikes to Torrance. The set, the glorious pitch, it's low, and again saved by Galino. He has had some kind of a workout here in this 10th inning. That gets through, game over. Because while you may not have a lot of speed at first, you've got plenty of speed at third. Ball game tied at 2 here in the bottom of the 10th inning. Devon Torrance steps away for a moment. The outfielders are very shallow here. They don't want the fly ball dropping in front. Here's a 1-2 pitch up there. And Galino's heroics continue.
Glorious just looks like he's just overthrowing everything. He's just trying to power it and just no consistency.
Well, he hasn't closed since 19, and it's not an easy thing to do mentally. Now the ball game in his hands. Here's a 2-2. Torrance lets it go, and he takes ball 3.
Almost the same spot, although a little bit closer than the pitch to Lair.
Torrance can take a walk here because then another one forces in the winning run. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Devon Torrance. Winning run 90 feet away. Glorious to the plate, and this is popped up down the left field side. Sprinting after it is Martinez. He can't get it. It's into the chairs, and Torrance is alive at 3-2.
And really, if you're High Point, do you even want to catch that? If you catch that, your momentum is
crashing into the tarp or the wall.
Yes.
Yeah, Ross would turn Hoover loose.
Absolutely.
3 balls, 2 strikes again to Devon Torrance. Anthony Peroni has already tied the game. Well, the Barnstormers know they'll either win or get to the 11th inning. But they want to win it here and reward the bullpen. 3-2, Torrance, chopper, right side. They'll get the out at second, back to first. Not in time, and the Barnstormers win. This is going to precipitate one heck of an argument with the first base umpire, P.J. McConville. The Rockers are all over him. The Barnstormers celebrate the win on the fielder's choice grounder. We have an ejection. That is Logan Morrison, the first baseman, who has been thrown out, and they are doing everything they can to keep him away from the umpiring crew. So 2 nights in a row, it has been crazy. And now Nate Caldwell indicating that he felt bumped into. The shoe is off, and Caldwell is having a fit. Now Glorious gets into it with him. So this night certainly is not over. Derek Moshe trying to intervene. There's Frank Viola getting into it again. Jamie Keefe and even Ross Peoples is trying to restore order here. I think Ross, the winning manager, may have just been thrown out. Can you believe this? It is unbelievable what has happened 2 nights in a row here.
We are going to have a very, very limited roster, I think, for both teams tomorrow.
It goes down as a game-winning fielder's choice for Devon Torrance. The Barnstormers win this one. But my. And it's almost as if both teams are involved in the argument, not with each other, but with the umpiring crew. I've never seen anything like this. The Barnstormers celebrate the win. They pull it out here 3-2, and Ross Peoples was doing everything he could to restore order down there, but I don't know who Caldwell and Moshe were throwing out, but they were chucking people left and right down along the right field line.
Now, my view when I first saw this, it looked like he was out.
I am not going to disagree with you. There's Torrance bolting down the line. Here's the throw, and he is out.
He is out.
No question about it. No question about it.
Oh,
the Barnstormers celebrate as they should, but he hadn't come down on the bag yet when Morrison had the ball in his hand, and P.J. McConville got the initial wrath, and then the rest of the crew got involved with it. And we are, I'm sure this video is going to also have to be sent to the Atlantic League, as last night's was. It was Caldwell throwing Morrison out after the fact. And there's Bert Gonzalez trying to get between Morrison and Caldwell, who was the third base umpire tonight. And the Barnstormers are victorious, and that's 10 in a row here at home for this Lancaster ball club, and we can celebrate that. Who knows what would have happened in future innings. Lancaster has won the first 2 in this series, and they're 7-1 in the second half. So despite, we'll get away from that last call for a moment. I'll tell you what, give the pitching staff credit. They've got to be lights out right now, and they were here tonight against a great lineup.
Yeah, is that a play where they can ask for an appeal from another umpire? Because Morrison went to the third base umpire, and I don't know if he was asking for an appeal, but he basically waved it off, and then Morrison flipped, and then that led to just an onslaught of ejection. So it's going to be very interesting to see who's available tomorrow for not only High Point, but for Lancaster as well, because I don't know if it looked like they threw Ross out, and I think Ross was just trying to police everything.
I think Ross was just trying to restore order, but that's kind of the way that I took that as well. The Barnstormers win it by the final score of 3-2. Hey, guess what? We've got another game in this series and another game with this umpiring crew and the High Point Rockers here. The Barnstormers were sort of innocent bystanders in all of this, but another game with this crew and the High Point Rockers tomorrow night. So if you want to be entertained, be here.
Yeah.
or certainly tune in to the telecast tomorrow night. It will be the Barnstormers and the Rockers. The Barnstormers will be looking for their 4th straight sweep here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. Tune in at 6:30. Now for my partner Eric May, the cameras and the truck and all the cast and crew here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. I'm Dave Collins. Have a great evening, everyone. And tomorrow night, if you want to have some fun, we'll see you at the ballpark.